Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Washington with the shot clock on Greenway right back to the 10. Now Malkin's turn. Fires across, crosses back.
Force 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Wherever you are, thanks for listening, watching. Welcome to the show. It is the Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And did you know that every sports bet you make on Play Alberta enters you in a draw to win Oiler tickets in the lower bowl? It even works with a free bet. So use the promo code Gregor10 this month, and you'll get a $50 free bet courtesy of the Jason Gregor Show. So there you go. And maybe you can win some tickets. Awesome. Also, the Daily Grand, my favorite game that I've yet to win, but maybe one day, because I just want to get $1,000 a day. It'd be really nice. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. We got a loaded show for you today. Of course, we will talk lots as the Oilers are into Nashville for their first road game of the season. They take on the 0-3 Predators. Now, the Preds are 0-3, but they really haven't played like an 0-3 team. They outshot Dallas 36-20 and lost 4-3. Then they went into Detroit, outshot them 42-22, lost 3-0, gave up an empty netter. This can't really score. Their power play has one goal, but they have 30 shots in 21 minutes of power play time. 30. It's nuts. They are. You know how many shots the Oilers' first unit power play has? 8. Now, they do have one goal. So some would say it's not how many shots you get. But keep in mind, the Edmonton Oilers for the last 3 seasons were, and it's actually probably if I extended to 4 or 5, it'd be 5. But I know for sure for the last 3, they are not only the best power play in the NHL, they have the highest shot rate in the National Hockey League. This year, they've missed the net way too often, or they haven't shot. Now, the good news is they go into Nashville. Their last 7 games in Nashville, the Oilers are 5-0-2. Their power play is 42.4% in those games. And Leon Draisaitl. So I looked it up with the help of Stu from NHL.com. And Leon Draisaitl, the run that he is on right now against Nashville is something that only 2 other players in the last 100 years have ever done. Draisaitl has 23 goals in his last 14 games against the Preds. 23 goals in 14 games. It's ridiculous. Mike Bossy had 23 goals over a 14-game period against the Chicago Blackhawks from 81 to 85. And Wayne Gretzky, no surprise, the great one, he had 24 goals in a 14-game stretch against the Leafs, and then he had 26 goals in a 14-game stretch against the St. Louis Blues. Those are the only 2 guys that have done it in 100 years. Now, if you were a fan of Newsy Lalonde or Joe Malone back in the 1918 to 1922, then maybe you'll remember it. Different time, completely different era, but historically they are still part of it. But Bossy and Gretzky, it's really the only, there's no one alive who I know who saw Joe Malone, and you would have to seen him live. Newsy Lalonde to remember that. So you'd have to be, to remember it? You'd have to be 114. Is there a Canadian that's 114? I don't think there is. So There you go. It is very rare what Draisaitl is doing against one team for an extended period of time. And then you throw in his running mate, Connor McDavid. He's on a 13-game point streak against the Preds, a measly 33 points. So Draisaitl has 37 in his last 14. McDavid has 33. Not bad at all for those two guys. And they'll stay together on a line tonight. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Why would you split them up? Because let's remember, I think the goal to put them together was to try to get some mojo and get some momentum going. And really, for 55 minutes against the Flyers, didn't really have it. But they woke up in the last 5 minutes, then got the overtime winner. And I would think going into Nashville, both guys are pretty happy about playing there. They have had a lot of success recently. I think they want to build off that. Adam Henrique, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown, the second line for the Oilers, 2 big goals in the last game. They played great all season. Then you got Nugent Hopkins with Arvidsson and Podkolzin. They'd love to get something from that trio. All have been rather quiet offensively this year. Then Corey Perry, Derek Ryan, and Matthias Janmark. That line's been pretty good, those guys, wherever they're playing. You know, Perry's had a goal. He's had a fight. He had another goal called off that I still think should have been a goal. Derek Ryan had a goal called off. It was a great one. Now, you know, Arvidsson, ridiculous offside that he shouldn't have done, but he was clearly offside, even though it had nothing to do with the play. But that was a hell of a goal. So I've liked that line. I've liked how they played. Now, some little inside the game numbers for you. The Edmonton Oilers, how about this? So this is where, you know what? Hey, it's winning faceoffs is important, but it hasn't really helped them. The Oilers are 19-10 shorthanded this season in the faceoff dot. 19-10. It's really good. Problem is their penalty kill is terrible. 57%. Kind of shows you, yeah, they win the draw, but when they get it out, when the other team comes back in and sets up, it hasn't been great. So, you know, conversely, on the other side, Nashville's power play, though, hasn't helped them. They're only 50% on the man advantage with Ryan O'Reilly, who's a pretty good faceoff guy, one of the best in the league for a long time. But they're only 50%, and their power play is actually worse than the Oilers. Their power play is 1 for 11. The difference is they have way more shots than the Oilers. The Oilers are 1 for 9. So the Oilers have almost been shorthanded twice as much as they had the penalty. I've had the power play. So they're 1 for 9, and they mean shorthanded 16 times. So the Oilers, it's not a recipe for success when you're shorthanded 4 times a game. So they will need to tighten up a little bit in the discipline department, which is why Leon Draisaitl saw himself sitting on the bench as the old grocery stick for a few shifts last game. He'll need to be better. We'll talk a lot about the Oilers. We also have Spec will be by in the 4 o'clock hour today. Lindsay Rowley, she'll join us from Nashville. Carrie Joseph, who is the quarterback coach of the Chicago Bears, will be by in the first hour to talk a little Bears and his young quarterback and just, you know, the development and the evolution of a young quarterback. Jeez, what's the best way to develop a young quarterback? Do you think it's playing him? I don't know. It's a crazy thought. It's crazy, I know. Now, doesn't mean you always have to do it. Some guys benefit. Aaron Rodgers benefited from getting some time. Now, he wasn't number 1 pick. So there's a little bit of different pressure on it. So I understand that vantage point from an organization. But if you've been watching the NFL, Connor Halley, and the progression from Williams, from kind of how limited the offense was in the first week and how it's just slowly expanding. And he's far from a finished product, far from perfect, but his numbers have progressively gotten better every week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it started off not very good, right? Like a rookie quarterback coming into the NFL would, getting thrust into there. And you're probably trying to do a lot of things. He's playing with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, probably trying to get them the ball, forcing it a little bit to start off strong. But like you said, week by week, he's just finally putting it together. Last week against the Jags in London, 4 touchdowns. That's the guy we kind of thought Caleb Williams would develop into. But for sure, I think it's going to be really cool to hear what Carrie Joseph has to say with what he's been doing behind the scenes to really get ready for Sundays.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating just kind of how you work with the young quarterback, and you see the progression and where they're at. And what's funny is his attempts. He had 29 his first game. He's had 29 his last 2 games. Now he did have the one game where they had 52 against the Colts, right? But he had 363 passing yards. It was decent. But you look at his quarterback rating, though, it's just progressively gotten better. And I think that, the last 2 weeks sitting at 126 and 124. You know what? The interceptions, he had 4 in the first 3 games. He's only had 1 in the last 3 games. To me, that's big advantage. Now, he's being sacked a lot, con man. And how much of that is on the O-line? How much do you think is on the young quarterback? Does he need to throw the ball away sometimes? What are you seeing? We'll ask Kerry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll say sometimes he's holding on to the ball a little bit too long, trying to, because you love that quarterback that takes the hit to make the throw, right? But sometimes you hang on a little bit too long instead of throwing it away, maybe, or just checking it down. I think it's probably a little bit of both. That's going to be the game plan, I think, for the Chicago Bears going forward. Like, he's got his weapons of the future. He's got Cole Kmet at tight end. He's got Roma Dunze, who they drafted in the first round, just a few picks after him. DJ Moore. Keenan Allen's going to be a free agent, so we'll see what they do with that spot in the offseason. But you build up that offensive line, and they've got, a potential juggernaut of an offense going forward.
Gotta love our listeners. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Put in your phone, save it. Sports 1440. Ewell inbox. Then you don't have to write it in every time. Ewell, your partner in power since 1975 for all your electrical gear need, ewel.ca. John texts in. Hey, fellas, the oldest person in Canada is Hazel Scoose. She was born February 7th, 1912. So I do the math. She is 112. Should get her on the show. Ask her about Newsy and Malone, born in Manitoba, so she knows she loves hockey, from John. John, I love how quickly you found that answer. That's fantastic. God, that would be unbelievable. I would, you know what? Like, if you think about someone who has lived 112 years, and when you consider how much has changed in 100 years, I look at my lifetime and how much has changed just from a technology factor more than anything. You look at food distribution, running water, electricity, gas, all that stuff for her. Oh my God, like it would be crazy. I don't know if there'll be that much change in the next 50. I could be wrong. Maybe there'll be stuff I don't even think about yet. But it's fascinating. Going from no phone, she probably had a party line phone, I would think, at some point. Now you got cell phone tech. Now you just people talking to their watches. It's nuts. So Hazel, 112. Oof. I was looking at you to get to 113. I like it. Hey, guys, how many games until Nugent Hopkins replacing the power play? I would say a bit. When you've been the best power play in the league for 5 years, I don't see them suddenly, pulling a guy off after 4 games. They'd probably, and it wouldn't pull, it would start with split duty is what I would think. Right? Where, halfway through, he tails off, which is hard to do if you have the puck in the offensive zone. Right? So that'd be my guess. Now, obviously, having Jeff Skinner, somebody they've really never had prior, and Skinner's a pretty decent passer, good shoot, but he'll shoot the puck, right? Nugent Hopkins is more of the distributor. He doesn't shoot a lot, right? The last few seasons, Draisaitl, when the Oilers power plays the best, he's their main trigger man. Then McDavid, then Hyman. That's just how it is. Go back and look at the last 3 seasons. Draisaitl, 192 shots. McDavid, 171. Hyman's third with 124. That's and really right now, how many shots does Zach Hyman have through 4 games? Hello, nothing. So there's a small little detail that he's got to get more involved. They need to get him more involved down around the crease on the man advantage, because you know what? He's been really good there. But Draisaitl is their main trigger guy. That's when they have the most success. And their power play has been able to figure out Nashville. Now, Nashville, you're bringing Brady Shea. They've got Stamkos and Marcia, so I don't think those 2 guys are going to impact their penalty kill at all. Shea will be on there, sure. But it's not like this guy is an unbelievable penalty killer that should shut down the Oilers' power play. The Oilers' power play is good. They just got to play to their strengths. And if they do, they should have some success. They need a good first period. Both of these teams have struggled out of the gate. Nashville has yet to score first in a game this season. They're 0-3. And the Oilers have scored first once. Of course, they lost that game. But I think a good start for Edmonton would be massive. You don't want to give Nashville a good start because their offense is just dying to get some momentum. Kind of similar to what Edmonton was heading into game 4 for them. It's game 4 for the Preds. Now, they've had a few more goals than the Oilers have in their first 3. But, that Seattle game, that was 3-3. I don't know if anybody watched that game, but it was 3-3 heading in the third period, and then they gave up 3 goals in the first 11 minutes. Not good night, Irene, for the Predators on home ice against Seattle, who's not necessarily an offensive juggernaut. And 2 of those goals came off the rush. So I was watching some of that. Like, Seattle was able to exploit Nashville off the rush. We'll see if Edmonton can do that tonight. When we return, we will talk a little football, though. The quarterbacks coach, former CFL quarterback, Kerry Joseph, will join us to talk about the young Caleb Williams coming off his best game of his career and kind of the upwards arc and where he's going next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Nuges Nuggets. This is Nuges Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of heating and cooling advice does Nuge have today?
You can save a lot of money by bundling your new furnace and AC with Legacy. It's kind of like saving money on an endorsement by bundling me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with someone like, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Thanks for suggesting me, Nuge.
Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC and furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of Nuges Nuggets.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Worried about your debt but don't know how to deal with it? My name is Pardine Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day, and I understand how stressful your situation can be. During a free consultation, I can show you how to lower your payment and become debt-free. I can offer you immediate relief from that overwhelming stress. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear?
Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin-refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Hey there, it's your friends from Toyota. We see you pining over that RAV4 at the light. And guess what? The light's been green for a while now. It's time to stop dreaming about that new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $91 weekly for 64 months at 5.69% with $3,999 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Orders. Sports 1440 pregame show. We'll get going. Andrew Walker, myself, Paulson. We'll get going at 5 o'clock tonight. So lots and lots of Oiler talk coming up. But first, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for 12U and 14U players to develop and improve their skills. Learn more at femalesuperleague.com. We are joined by, of course, former Grey Cup champion, longtime CFL QB, and has been the quarterbacks coach in Chicago for a few years, and working up close and personal with their young quarterback, Caleb Williams, fresh off of his best game as a pro, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception, 124 quarterback rating, 23 of 29 in a 35-16 victory. Kerry Joseph joins us once again. Kerry, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you guys are doing? Appreciate you having me back on the show.
Hey, man, happy to have you on. It's, you know what, Kerry, you remember as a young quarterback how it was, you know, you're learning the game is hard. Like that position is, it can be ruthless at times, I think. I had Warren Moon on, and he said something that really resonated with me. He goes, I think there's lots of good quarterbacks. I'm not sure there's a lot of people that are patient enough to develop them properly. And, you know, there's lots of pressure. Guy comes in, huge contract. Kind of, how do you take on that role as a quarterback coach, working with the young guy and Caleb Williams, who obviously has a boatload of potential, but the NFL is a pretty tough league to learn as a quarterback?
You know what? It's a hard position to play. You know, playing in the NFL is tough, but you just try to be patient and, you know, just having the understanding that it takes time, you know, and it takes just getting better every day. You know, the biggest learning that you do have is repetition. You know, that's one of the biggest learners that you have, and mistakes. You know, I call it kind of my my RAM, my RAM, repetition and mistakes. That's how you continue to learn. And as a coach, you know that. I went through it myself, and it's about just being patient. And at the end of the day, hey, can you be 1% better the next day than you were the day before?
I love that RAM, repetition and mistakes, because you have to accept that mistakes are going to happen, right? The other team's great. Sometimes it happens so fast. You're going to see some reads that maybe you haven't. So it's now been 6 weeks. Obviously, you had tons of preseason and everything, that you work with a guy like Caleb Williams, and working with him, Kerry, you know, what has kind of impressed you most? What does he do best as a young quarterback?
You know, one is just his study habits. You know, his mentality of wanting to have all the answers and the way he works at it. But then you see the way he responds to adversity. is awesome. Is at another level, and also too the things that he can do off schedule when the play breaks down. I think it's very impressive. But just from the mental standpoint, it's just him want to have all the answers. He asks the right questions, but then he takes it to the field and works at it. And I think as a young quarterback, that's all you're looking for. Guys that's willing to be coachable, and then he goes out there and work at it. The results are going to come. You just got to continue to go through the process and be patient through the process.
Kerry, what about the in-game coaching? Can it be too much? Are you more about, hey, let's do all the coaching during the weekend? And, obviously we'll talk to them. Everybody has the tablets now and stuff, but where's that line about over coaching in a game?
I think the in-game in-game coaching is about adjustments. That the opposing team are going to have some things that you might not have seen. And I think within the course of a game, you have to be able to make those adjustments and get to different calls, get to different plays. And that's where we help the offensive coordinator throughout the game of, coming up with some thoughts and ideas. And then also helping the quarterback, to see things on the sideline with the tablets that we might not have seen before game time. The biggest thing is, for me, is, once Sunday comes, I've done pretty much everything I can do to get him to where he needs to be to go out there and perform. And then you got to just let him go play. Coaching, I think, is from Monday through Saturday. And then Sunday, that's their time to be on the field and to go let it go play, and go play. And that's how I was as a player. I took all the coaching and listened, took all the details. And then when it was game day, man, let's just go play football. And then, like I said, and throughout the course of the game, you have to be ready for those in-game adjustments.
Kerry Joseph joins us, quarterback coach of the Chicago Bears. And Kerry, when you work on it from week to week in the preparation for a team, how do you balance the preparation to know what the other team's doing, but also trying to develop and grow a young quarterback?
I think the biggest thing, like I said earlier, the development and the growth, it's going to come from repetition. It's going to come from, learning from mistakes. You got the preparation, the game plan about, what the other team is going to try to do against you, what coverages, what fronts they're going to play. But the growth and development, man, that, you can talk about it all day long. It comes from the repetitions. It comes from mistakes. It comes from seeing a picture over and over and over again, where it now is embedded in your mind, or running the play and throwing that completion over and over and over again, where it becomes second nature to you. And you just got to play. You got to play the game. I was told, and it's facts. Big time takes time. When you think about a lot of the greats, nobody got it overnight. You think about Kobe Bryant. It took time. Think about Peyton Manning. He didn't get it right away. It took time. Michael Jordan. It took time. So it's just that process of having that understanding. Number one, as a coach, and then trying to have making sure that the players understand that you got to have a little grace on yourself and just continue to learn from your mistakes. And I always say this here: you don't want to make mistakes, but the biggest thing is making new mistakes. Because if you're making new mistakes, you're learning from your old ones.
Kerry Joseph joins us, quarterbacks coach for the Chicago Bears. Kerry, you played quarterback in the CFL. Of course, you played in the World League and, of course, in the NFL. Having played in both CFL and the NFL, from the QB-only perspective, what was the biggest adjustment? What's the same in the leagues, and maybe what's significantly different from a quarterback read perspective?
I think the same in the league. A lot of the concepts are similar. It's just in the CFL you can add another player. But a lot of the concepts are really similar. The biggest thing is, I think, from the NFL to the CFL is the field is so much smaller. Things happen so much quicker.
Okay.
When you talk about the speed of the game, guys that can run in a tight space, your response to what a defense is giving you has to be that much quicker because of the fact you don't have a lot of space on that field. I think that's the biggest thing that's the difference between the two leagues from the quarterback perspective, is making sure that you can respond to what they're giving you a lot quicker. And part of that comes from your field vision, being able to see it quicker.
Yeah. When you look, you guys are on a bye week. So do guys have to get completely away, or is there still work going on in the bye week for the quarterback?
I think you got to get away from it. I think it's an opportunity for you to reset a little bit. It's hard to get completely away from it, but I think at some point you got to just kind of let your mind go and free yourself from that, because it's so much that's in, that it takes and throughout a week, throughout a season. I think the mental rest is very important, not only for the mind, but also for the body, So, I encourage guys to put it down for a second. Don't overthink it. And then, hey, when it's time to come back in, let's strap it back up and get back to work.
Kerry, you can try to hide guys from hype and different things, but they're human beings. And when you guys come out of the bye week, you're taking on Washington, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, that's a big matchup of two top picks. I know they never face each other head to head, but quarterbacks, you played the game. You know that, even though you're not up against the other quarterback on the field, you're kind of up against him in the sense that if he's producing, you want to produce. So the game's the same. How do you think you approach that? Not that you necessarily talk about Daniels, or do you broach that conversation because a young quarterback's probably thinking about it?
A young quarterback, old quarterback, it don't matter. When you're going up against a guy that, I think about the guys that I had battles with in the CFL at the quarterback spot. It's human nature. For me as a coach, I don't even talk about it.
Okay.
For me, it's our daily preparation doesn't change, because for us, every game that we play is a championship game. And if you prepare like that, when you come into these matchup games, you don't overthink it. You prepare the same. Yes, you're going to hear the news. You're going to hear the media. But I always say this here. It doesn't matter what other people's opinion about me is. It should matter, because at the end of the day, you know who you are. And when you're comfortable with who you are, I don't need someone else to tell me that I'm a good football player, because I know by the work that I put in and the work that I do daily and week to week, I know I'm a pretty good football player. So, I just go do what I do. And that's my encouragement to guys is, hey, it's just another football game that we got to go out there and come out with a W. Yeah, the hype is going to be there. The buzz is going to be there. The ratings. Hey, somebody got to boost the ratings, right?
Yeah.
The game got flexed. Somebody got to do all that. Well, you don't have to really get involved with that. You just kind of stay even keel, stay smooth. I don't say ride the wave. I say just stay even keel through the wave and just be ready to play a good football game.
Kerry, the last few seasons, you work with Geno Lewis in Seattle, and there was a young guy who took a lot longer to find himself and became a really good NFL quarterback. And so you work with kind of him, and then you have a young. What's the biggest difference, if any, from a quarterback coach working with the guy who has more experience compared to working with a guy in his rookie season?
Oh, you know what? Geno is Geno Smith.
Yes, yeah, Geno Lewis. Did I say Lewis?
So you know what, Geno, veteran guy that, like you said, it took time. Everybody's, that's another one too. People want to compare guys. Man, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's timeline is going to be different. Geno timeline took him 10 years before he got the right opportunity for himself, with the right organization. And for him, what it was, he had always prepared to be the starter. Regardless, when he was a backup to Russ, his preparation was like he was the starter. So when he got his opportunity, he took off with it. He's seen a lot, throughout his years. He's seen different defenses. Has seen different coverages. He's made a bunch of mistakes. Where you get a young guy that's coming into the NFL, he's learning through those mistakes. He's taking those snaps, those reps. Like I said, repetition and mistakes. As a young guy, he's building that repertoire of those things, day in and day out, week in and week out. It's how you embrace the change and how you take advantage of the opportunity that lies before you. That's one thing I told Caleb. I said, you know what? We all go through changes, but we always got to be ready to embrace change. on the field and off the field.
Kerry, I think every quarterback will admit I can make every throw. The confident quarterback will say that, but every QB has one or two that, hey man, that's my go-to. It's like a pitcher in baseball. When you want to get a strikeout, there's a certain pitch you want to use. As a young quarterback, what throw do you think Caleb Williams does best today?
You know what? That's one I would leave for him to answer, to be honest with you. In fairness to him, I think he's a great quarterback. I think he has a lot of arm talent, whether it's in the pocket, outside of the pocket. And that's one of those questions I wouldn't want to answer for him, because he does a great job playing the position, and he continues to grow.
So looking at specific throws as a quarterback's coach, because, every situation, and you played the position, so I think you probably have a little bit more of an advantage to it. So you know what your bread and butter is, and you build, how much of the offense is built around his skill set early on, and then you evolve to how he grows, or does he adapt to what you guys want to run as an offense? How does that go?
It's a little bit of both. It's just finding out what works. Because at the end of the day, it's not about just him. It's about us overall as an offense with the group and the talent that we have. It's just finding that mix week in and week out, and then who we playing against, all those things that we just come together as a staff and figure this thing out week in and week out.
20 sacks so far for Williams. You never want to see your quarterback get hit that much, Kerry. Is there how much of that process is sometimes getting rid of the ball, to a safe area rather than holding it on, or do you guys have to do a better job protecting them?
It's a combination of things that we have to get better at, and it starts with us as coaches, helping our guys out on the field, and we're going to get better in that area of the field, and we have gotten better, and we're going to continue to get better. And it's like I said, it comes down to us as coaches figuring things out.
So I was looking at Caleb's numbers before you came on, and we've seen a real steady progression. Of course, from week one, it's week one in the NFL, man. It's all the lights are on you, your number one pick. I couldn't imagine the excitement, but also the pressure. But you've seen it. You had the one game where he had 52 passing attempts, 363 yards against the Colts. Your offense seems to be a little bit better when it's more balanced with about 28 to 31 attempts and then the rushing yards. But if you look at Caleb coming out of the bye week to how much more you're able to put on his plate compared to week one, is it significantly different? How much more do you open the playbook each week with the young quarterback?
It's not so much how much more you put on him. It's what we need to do weekly against the team that we're playing against.
Okay.
It's not so much, hey, take some off, put more, just because the growth is coming. I think that's where you have to be careful as coaches, feeling that, oh, you know what, we can do more, but do you really need to do more? Doing more can be just, hey, adding a formation here, adding a formation there, and doing similar concepts. So it's different ways to skin that cat, and that's what we just got to kind of figure out as we continue to march forward.
What about you as a quarterback coach, Kerry? How have you grown and learned over the years? What do you do different that you didn't do early on in your coaching career?
You know what? I'm just kind of I'm very mellow, compared to when I played. Like when I played, I had a lot of juice. But like now, I'm not a big rah-rah guy, but I'm rah-rah inside.
Okay.
So for me, it's just all about making sure the details from the footwork of the quarterback to the progression of the quarterback to in the run game, making sure that we finish. All those things for me are the things that I'm on top of to make sure that I'm giving the young quarterbacks in that room everything that they need each and every day to be successful. I think for me, that's just been my growth of just seeing the big picture and just making sure that their mentality and their physical tools, match up for game day, just to be able to go out there and execute at a high level.
We see some coaches, they're really fired up. Dan Campbell in Detroit's very emotional guy. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. It's just different. But when the game's on and you're a coach, Kerry, do you still have that same, energy? Maybe you said that you're not as wired as you were, or is it is it a nervous energy because you can't actually do anything to impact the game?
It's a little bit of a nervous energy because I text my wife one day on the way to a game on the bus, and I told her, I said 10 years ago, I was able to impact a game physically, the outcome of a game. You know, at 41 years old, 40 years old, I was able to do that. Now, only thing I can do is mentally and emotionally be there to help the young guy go out and perform at the highest level. That's the toughest part for me, because once we get to that field, there's nothing I can really do physically to help. All I can do is help mentally and emotionally. So for me, it's always about, I just want my guys to play well, you know, and because I know if we play well from the quarterback position, I know that we're going to have a chance to be successful.
Do you miss the rush of playing, or do you not because you don't miss the pain physical of playing?
I miss the rush of playing. You know, it's not so much the contact. I just miss the rush of playing, because I would go back out there and deal with the pain and the contact. I think the biggest thing for me, and that was one of my reasons of getting out, was just the training. You know, week in and week out, off season, preparing the body to get there. But the rush to play, I don't think that ever goes away. You know, I don't think it ever goes away.
Do you still take reps, Gary? You dropping back in the pocket in practice or in a flag football league anywhere?
No, them days are over with. I think the most those that I get is pregame throwing some pat and goes to the DBs.
Okay.
But other than that, you know, I'll throw it around a little bit on the yard. But the shoulder just it's not as loose as it used to be. I don't think I can go 77 yards no more.
No, 60 though.
I probably can still flip it off 60.
Okay, well that's pretty. Now, out of those DBs, who has the best hands that you're throwing it to?
Oh, we got some good DBs now. All right, we got some good talented DBs. So I'm not gonna name a name, because they all can catch the football.
Yeah, well, it's different now, right? The joke used to be the DBs play DB because they couldn't catch, right?
That's different, man. You got to be able to catch the football. We need turnovers.
Yeah. Well, Kerry, always great to talk to you. Enjoy the bye week, and best of luck. It'll be an exciting game when you come back taking on Washington. Really appreciate your time.
All right, Jason, man. Thanks for having me on.
You betcha. That is Kerry Joseph, quarterback coach of the Chicago Bears. Really good dude. Man, still Huck at 60 yards. I like that. I like though he knew exactly how far he could throw it, Con, man. 77. That is a chuck. Nothing wrong with that.
Guy was an athlete. Like he played safety.
Yes.
At the NFL level. Then, you know what? I want to play quarterback in the CFL. I'll go do that.
Yeah.
And was damn good for a long time.
Yeah. Like he's one of the few two-way guys, right? Like at professional level. He was big. Like when he played quarterback, like he was physical. You remember, like he used to drop the shoulder on guys a little bit more than some quarterbacks. He was a thick dude. Still is. When we return, we got more on the Oilers. They're getting set to take on the Nashville Predators. Only lineup change, Calvin Pickard will get the start in goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, I think they didn't want to start Skinner in both games, and so they elected to save him for Dallas on Saturday afternoon. Calvin Pickard admitted this morning, hey, man, it's an opportunity to bounce back. He didn't like his first performance of the season against Chicago, and we're looking to bounce back tonight. We'll return on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo
2:48 game day. Oilers in Smashville to take on the Nashville Predators, who are looking for their first victory of the season. They are 0-3. Their power play, kind of like the Oilers, struggling 1 for 11. The Oilers are 1 for 9. The Preds, how about the Preds don't have a goal from their top two lines yet through at 5-on-5. Don't have a goal from their top two lines 5-on-5. So that's obviously a little bit of a concern for them. The Novak Evangelista line has 2 goals, and then McCarron, their fourth line winger, has the other one. So they'll be obviously looking for a little bit of added offense in Nashville. Oilers are just looking to get their first road win of the season. Calvin Pickard will get the start in goal. Let's get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. The cold is coming, so think ahead. Your furnace might be on its last legs. Well, don't wait. Book now, no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace at legacyheating.ca. Max Chadwick joins us from Pro Football Focus. And Max, we're just talking with the Bears quarterbacks coach, Kerry Joseph. They're obviously on the bye week, but it'll be a pretty big hype game coming out of the bye week when the Bears take on Washington with the 2 young QBs. But I want to get your thoughts. What do you make of the Tampa Bay running back situation now from a fantasy perspective?
Yeah, good question. I think it's interesting for sure. Bucky Irving, I still think is the guy to own in fantasy. I think he has been the most probably consistent out of all of them. But as a Syracuse alum, I'm very happy to see Sean Tucker do well, right? He's actually a guy that I went to school with, and he's a guy that is really a good dude, and it's cool to see him kind of break out in a major way this past weekend. So as a Syracuse fan, I'm hoping for more for him, but as a Bucky Irving manager, I'm kind of hoping Bucky Irving is the lead back, right? Just conflicting thoughts for me there. But I do think Bucky Irving is probably the better guy to manage for fantasy, and we'll see how the backfield checks out in the future.
How much of a boost are you expecting from Amari Cooper now that he's a Buffalo Bill?
Probably a good amount, because now you really increase in quarterback play, right? You go from one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in Deshaun Watson to one of the best in Josh Allen, and also go to a situation that isn't really loaded in that receiving core either. So you have to wonder that, yeah, Amari Cooper is probably the number one guy immediately in that receiving core, right? So yeah, I think it's a big boost for him. I think getting him in that situation is massive for his fantasy stock, and I think it's going to help him a lot.
Now, when he comes in, who do you think takes the biggest downgrade then amongst the receiving core in Buffalo because of his addition?
Be interesting. I think Khalil Shakir could go down a little bit after having a decent start to his year. So I think he could be one. I think honestly almost anyone you could talk about going down a little bit too. So yeah, I think those are the guys I'd probably say the most. But yeah, I think Khalil Shakir and potentially some other guy like Keon Coleman could go down a little bit too. Those are probably the guys I'd look at with Amari Cooper going there. But I don't know if it'll be too much of an impact though, honestly.
You look at Devontae Adams in the trade that was the most easily predictable trade maybe in history. Once they fired the coach, everybody assumed he was going to go see his buddy Aaron Rodgers. And I've seen kind of differing reports on it. Like I look at Jamar Chase when T. Higgins came back and how much better he is. So if you have Wilson and you add Devontae Adams, well, Adams might be the number one guy, but shouldn't this free up a lot less double teams for Wilson? And in theory, he might benefit from this. Where do you come out on it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that these are two guys that are still very easily guys that you'd want to own in fantasy. I think Devontae Adams, I'd rather have a little bit more than Garrett Wilson, just because of that chemistry there with Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. The fact that Devontae is basically just as good as Garrett Wilson, if not a little bit better too. But yeah, you're right that these are two guys that should still be really good to own in fantasy, because they're both really good receivers. Now you take away of the double teams that one of them was getting. So yeah, I think this will definitely help both of them in the long run.
Max Chadwick joins us from Pro Football Focus. Sign up at PFF. You get you can unlock the player grades and all their stats and stuff. And you guys got a lot. I like digging into it. When you look at the some of the rankings, really, when it comes to there's always there's different if you want to play daily or if you're playing year round PPR. Obviously, it's very challenging. It's different in those regards, Max. But a guy who's kind of gig is it to do that? Is there one you prefer, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think I like playing redraft the most. I'm in one dynasty league. It's fun, but it's a big commitment. I kind of like the redraft one that I do with my friends right now. I think that's probably the best way to do it. I'm not really into the whole daily fantasy thing either. So I like the redraft the most. Just kind of keep it old school, honestly.
So looking at matchups from the running back position is obviously pretty tough now. There's split duties in lots of teams. When you look at a matchup, who are some of the RBs outside of the obvious ones? Like, there's certain guys we're starting every week, but who are some guys that you like matchup wise this weekend?
Yeah, I think, the top guys are obviously Saquon Barkley going against the Giants, Kyron Williams going against the Raiders. I think those are two guys that I think are must starts. Kyron Williams especially has been outstanding this year. So those are two guys I really like as well. And like you said, you got your usual suspects. I really like Chuba Hubbard this week at the Commanders. I think he's a guy that has kind of taken over a little bit in that Panthers backfield. So I would expect him to do pretty well there. So, yeah, those are some of the guys I think are going to have good weeks this week. J.K. Dobbins, Tony Pollard, Jordan Mason. I think those are guys, again, along with the usual suspects, but those are some of the other guys that you should be looking to start this week.
You mentioned, I don't know how many people would have had Chuba Hubbard having the success he's had in Carolina this season. I don't know if it's sustainable or not, but man, he's been great in fantasy.
Yeah, he has been. And again, like you said, it was not really a backfield that people wanted to dive into too much because you had Jonathan Brooks they just drafted, who's been battling an injury, but when he's there, he should still be one of the top guys. And then Miles Sanders is always there as well. I know Miles Sanders has really been on the downturn of his career, but he's still there. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard is really kind of taking the reins of that offense right now, and he seems to be the fantasy running back to own in Carolina right now.
Do you think it's sustainable?
Probably not. I think when Jonathan Brooks is fully healthy, he will be the top guy. So I don't think it's completely sustainable. But I think, as of right now, I'd certainly be willing to have Chuba Hubbard on my team and be very happy about it because of how good he's been. But yeah, I think once Jonathan Brooks kind of gets his feet wet a little bit in his rookie year, he'll probably be a really good running back to own. But I still think Chuba Hubbard could be a guy that's a top 20 running back in fantasy football this year, though.
What do you make of Patrick Mahomes' season? Because it's funny, like they're winning games and people are like, he's not putting up big numbers, but their offense they're winning with great defense right now in KC. I'm sure injuries play a part in it, and the receiving core, Pacheco is out. But what do you make of Mahomes from a fantasy perspective now?
Yeah, I think he's a below average fantasy quarterback to own probably right now. In terms of starters, like if you're in a 12-team league, he's probably like QB8 for the rest of the year, I'd probably say. So, yeah, I think it's just not been a great year for him. I think a lot's got to do with just the talent he's got around him. He doesn't really have a great receiving core and all that. So, yeah, and also the two high defenses are taking with the deep ball of him too, making him be more methodical and making the Chiefs run the ball a lot more too. So, he's still an elite quarterback in real life, but in fantasy football, he's more like a below average starter in a 12-team league.
It's funny that somehow how some people, because so many people play fantasy, that it kind of skews opinions on actual quarterbacks, right? Like I'm like, you give me one game, I'm taking Pat Mahomes all day long. I get that his fantasy numbers aren't good, but I read some people and how they talk. Oh man, Mahomes isn't good. I'm like, no. Might not be a productive fantasy quarterback, but that's more so based on lots of other factors, not his skill set.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's not fantasy rankings don't mean really much about how good a player actually is. Honestly, like I think it's just a lot to do with what they do, especially quarterbacks. It's a lot about your rushing ability. And Mahomes, he can run, but he's not an elite runner at the position. So a guy like Jaden Daniels, I'd much rather have Jaden Daniels than Patrick Mahomes in fantasy. I'd much rather have Patrick Mahomes than Jaden Daniels in real life right now, right? So that's the kind of the difference that you're looking at. Like Jalen Hurts, I think has really struggled this year, but Jalen Hurts is still easily a better fantasy quarterback than Patrick Mahomes as well. So that's kind of the difference, is that you don't have to be an elite player. It does actually help to be an elite player, obviously, but it's a lot of different other factors go into it to be a good fantasy player.
And it took a few weeks, but I think Atlanta is now the offense they had hoped to be when they brought in Kirk Cousins. For years, people have been saying you've either been on the train or off of the Kyle Pitts train. He's had 2 good weeks where he's been pretty active. I think 7 and 8 catches the last few weeks. Is that sustainable? Is Pitts becoming more of the guy people hoped he'd be, or are you leery of him still?
I'm a little leery of him. I think, again, he's like a top 10 tight end in fantasy football to own for the rest of the year. I don't know if he's much more than that. And a lot of people, including myself, drafted him higher than that. He's just so up and down. He's a roller coaster, honestly. You just don't know what to expect from him week in and week out. There's some games where he could put up 15 to 20 points. There's some games where he could put up 2 points, right? And it happens week over week, honestly. There's no really correlation for it. So he's a very frustrating player to own. He's been a very frustrating player to own for his entire career. But I still think he's a guy that, again, is like a top 10 tight end in fantasy because there is that ceiling there that you can always get from him.
Max, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Keep it up. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Max Chadwick joining us from PFF, Pro Football Focus. If you're into fantasy, I highly recommend that site. They got some great stuff. And they go really in-depth, and when they get to certain matchups, it's pretty good. When we return, we'll go deep into the Edmonton Oilers. They're on the road in Nashville. Some numbers, Oiler fans. If you're looking for some positive numbers that will get you excited, I have a few of them coming up after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice as they celebrate 25 years. And with this huge milestone, they're bringing back the fan favorite smoothies, the original, the marathon, and the very popular Orangesicle. You can download the Boosters Reward app, order one today, or stop in only at Booster Juice.
The Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Oilers in action tonight on the road, taking on the 0-3 Nashville Predators. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. We got pregame coverage with Andrew Walker, Jason Gregor, and Donovan Paulson coming up 5 o'clock right here on Sports 1440. Calvin Pickard will get the start between the pipes for the Oil. Elsewhere, busy night. Kings, Canadians, Sens host the Devils, the Golden Knights in Tampa. Panthers host the Canucks. Sabres up against the Blue Jackets. Red Wings host the Rangers. Sharks take on the Blackhawks and the Kraken. Welcome the Flyers to Seattle. Dallas Stars have signed goaltender Jake Oettinger to an 8-year contract for $66 million. That's an AAV of $8.25 million. Same deal that Jeremy Swayman got from the Bruins earlier this month. Week 7 in the NFL will kick off tonight with the Saints hosting the Broncos. That one gets going at 6:15. The Saints will be without wide receiver Rashid Shaheed as he underwent surgery today, looking like he might miss the remainder of the season. Chris Olave won't play either for New Orleans. LA Clippers star Kawhi Leonard will be sidelined indefinitely to begin this season as he rehabilitates from inflammation in his right knee. This went back to last year in late March. He missed the final 8 games of the season and was limited to just 2 games in their first-round loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Major League Baseball, today you've got Game 3 between the Yankees and the Guardians in the ALCS. Yankees lead that one 2-0 first pitch in about 5 minutes' time. Then just after 6 o'clock, Mets and Dodgers meeting in New York. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. The Edmonton Oil Kings in action tonight. They'll host the Saskatoon Blades down at Rogers Place. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock. And at the BCHL Showcase out in BC, Saints will take on Chilliwack. That one starting just after 8. Coming up in hour 2, we'll get you ready for tonight's Oilers game. They're set to take on the Preds. We'll be joined by Preds ringside reporter Lindsay Rowley, and we'll speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go. And it's beautiful.
The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost. 1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Yeah, go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
The madness continues at the Brick. Find huge savings in every department, like up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Sports 1440 is ready to talk hockey with you after every game this season. The post-game show with Andrew Walker is brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. Tune in after the next game.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Toro Zero Turn Blowout Sales event is on now. All in-stock Toro Zero Turn tractors are on sale, featuring the comfortable MyRide suspension system, isolated from the frame to save your back and accelerate your mow. Heavy-duty fabricated mowing decks are available too, 50 to 72-inch. Toro, a trusted name in turf for over 100 years. Don't miss the Toro Zero Turn Blowout Sales event on now. LawnmowerHospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. I think it's safe to say we are all paying attention to interest rates these days. If so, you'll like this. We have 0% financing available on Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0% on the Dodge Durango and the all-new Hornet. And the rates on Ram 1500, Ram 2500, and Ram 3500, you guessed it, 0%. Are you picking up the theme? We have 0% financing on virtually all 2024 new models with hundreds to choose from. Why pay interest? Instead, come get a new vehicle at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Like we always do with this.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Kid Sports' 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Pigout. Come try the best pizza Edmonton and area has to offer. Thursday, October 24th at 6 p.m. Get your tickets at jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
True, it is game day on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, as well as X, sports1440.ca, where you can listen, tune in. Thanks as always. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor and you'll get a $50 free play. And did you know that every time you make a wager, you can enter in to win a pair of seats to see an upcoming Oilers home game only at PlayAlberta.ca. So we have lots of questions coming in our text line, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Lindsay Rowley will join us in about 50 minutes time to talk about the Predator side. So we'll focus a little bit more on the Oilers in this one. Hey, guys, any idea what Pickard's stat line versus the Preds is in his career? Well, yeah, I do know it, but I just want to point out before I tell you what the stat line is, I really don't think it matters because he hasn't faced them as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. His last start against the Preds was in 2019 when he was a member of Arizona and faced 46 shots. They lost the game. He had a .913 save percentage and allowed 4 goals. So I don't know if you can blame him for that loss. Then his first 3 starts were when he was in Colorado, and the Avs were not a very good team. His first 2 starts were actually quite good, even though he lost the game. Like his first start he lost, he stopped 32 of 33, had a 102 save percentage, 971 save percentage, 102 goals against, but he doesn't get the win because they lose 2-1. So, they lost 1-0, not 2-1. They didn't score a goal. Not much you can do in that game. So, but his overall numbers, if you look at it from win-loss isn't great, but he has a 902 save percentage against them. But again, I don't think it matters because he hasn't played them as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. It will be there. He is looking forward to it. I had a really good chat with Pickard actually before he left. I was just asking about equipment and different stuff, and he gets all new gear to start the season every year. Then his pads last about 2 months. His glove and blocker last 3 weeks to a month, which kind of surprised me. But he says you just take so many pucks in practice at the padding, it just kind of starts to wear down right in that pocket, and then that's when you start to feel it. So you keep him fresh about every 3 weeks to a month for him. Then you look at he's from Winnipeg. And remember when Chris Nombuck in the preseason was like, well, I thought Pickard wanted to go there. He's like, I hate playing there. And he's like, I also goes, yeah, you know what? At first it was like, oh, great, I get to see my family and friends. But then the game comes and he just never liked really playing in Winnipeg. And that's one place he doesn't like the arena. It's funny how I mentioned how Draisaitl and McDavid, when they get off the bus today and walk in to the Bridgestone Arena, they got to be feeling like this is unbelievable. Draisaitl has 23 goals in his last 14 games against the Preds. But in Nashville, he's even better. He's got 21 points in his last 7 games in Nashville. 3 points a game, for goodness sakes. So, yeah, like if Pickard doesn't like a certain building, you know that other guys do. So Draisaitl, man, I'd be hitting the goal total at playalberta.ca for Draisaitl tonight all day long. Doesn't mean he'll do it, but man, I'm playing the odds. I'm playing a guy who loves that building, who just scored an overtime winner. I think he was also probably still smarting a little bit from the brief benching he had in the third period. I think that guy's going to come up fired up. And then you throw in his running mate, Connor McDavid, and McDavid's riding a 13-game point streak against the Preds. And he has a measly 33 points in that 13-game streak. Not bad. So you got McDavid rolling, you got Draisaitl rolling, and way to go. No other lineup changes other than Calvin Pickard. The D pairs will stay the same. Emberson and Kulak. Nurse will play with Stetcher. And then, of course, Ekholm and Bouchard. The 4 lines from 4-1. You have Ryan with Perry and Janmark. You'll have Nugent Hopkins with Arvidsson and Podkolzin. Henrique center, Skinner and Brown, and Nugent Hopkins with Hyman and Draisaitl. And Zach Hyman, they'd obviously like to see him get off the schneid. No points through 4 games. I don't think he's played horribly, but he hasn't been around as much. Doesn't have a shot on the power play, right? And this was a guy who was, second on the team a few years ago, and over the last 2 years, he's third on the team in shots. He's a guy who averages just under a shot a game in the power play, and he has none through 4 games. They want to get him more involved, especially around the net, because 2 things happen when all of a sudden you get Hyman more engaged and more involved around the net. It forces him sometime to have to respect it, cheat low. Now it opens up a little bit more space for the Draisaitl one-timer, a little bit more space in the mid to high slot, because the defenders now are respecting Hyman, because when he's coming in, he's always just around the net, right? That's always where he is. So I look at that and see it. That's how it goes. A few other ones coming in, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, I have to say I love your interviews. They're such unique and insightful questions. It's clearly evident you do your homework about the team and the person that you're interviewing. The whole new level of the sport broadcasting should be. Great job from K-Fed. Hey, man, appreciate that. Hey, Gregor, loved your questions and Carrie's comments. Really interesting stuff about the quarterback position. Even on an Oilers game day, I really liked it. Well, hey, you know what? It's true. I know. I was like, oh, geez, you got it. But it's an NFL quarterbacks coach. Can't be picky on the timeline. It's a bye week. Right? During the week, normally you're not going to get them. So we had to do it. Carrie's a good friend of the show. And so we're glad that we found the bye week for him to get in. Producer Brad hooks that. You got to hook that up well in advance. right? To get a guy on from an NFL team. So couldn't pass it up. So I appreciate it on a game day that you're all still okay with talking to NFL quarterbacks. Coach. Hey, Gregor, how do you think the Predators will match up? And do you think Ryan O'Reilly can slow down the Oilers' top line? If he does, I'm concerned because the rest of our offense isn't that good. From Dan. Well, Dan, I'll totally disagree with your last comment. What do you mean the rest of their offense isn't good? What don't you like about their second line right now? Henrique, Brown, and Skinner. They've been the Oilers' 3 best players 5-on-5 through 4 games. And I don't really think it's close, to be honest. They scored 2 goals last game. Skinner had a goal. He's got an assist last few games. I don't have a problem with Jeff Skinner at all. Not at all. So and what's interesting is you look at Nashville, it looks like they've split up a lot of their line combinations again. They're trying to, how about their top 2 lines hadn't scored a goal. So they've put Steven Stamkos now with Novak and Evangelista, and that's kind of their number 2 line. Ryan O'Reilly's with Forsberg and Nyquist, and I think you're right. I think that line's going to get a lot of the McDavid-Draisaitl matchup. But then their third line is Marchessault with Colton Sissons and Mark Jankowski. Like, I don't know. Do Sissons and Jankowski concern you offensively? And then they've got McCarron with Cole Smith and Philip Tomasino. So that'll be the line combinations for the Predators tonight, and we'll see. But I don't really have a problem if you just need your top line to score. Like, they've been pretty quiet other than 1 goal 5-on-5 through 4 games. So to me, when your second line has outscored your top line, I can't be concerned about I'm more concerned about the top line getting going than I am the second line playing well. The second line's been great. I've had no issue with them. Now, do I need the third line? Arvidsson, Nugent Hopkins, and Podkolzin to get off the schneid? 100%. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more from them, no doubt. So they need to get going. But I look at Nashville and, all the juggling that they've done. They've tried lots of different combinations to try to see, getting different guys going, and we'll see if it happens. But so far, it hasn't really worked out for them. But I wouldn't be concerned if for an Oilers fan. I really like that second line. Cons, you have any concerns with that?
No, I would be with you. I mean, have they been amazing? Like, there's been some flashes. The bottom 6 has been fine. Like you said, it's the top line. And I kind of mentioned it yesterday. I thought at times they were a liability out there. Like, not only not producing offensively, but taking penalties, not necessarily great defensively. Like, when they get their game going, because they will, it's going to be fine. They'll start producing. I'm hoping that, the third period of last game was maybe that kick in the pants that they needed, realizing what they have to do, maybe stop trying to make that extra pass and just take the shot, especially when you're playing with Zach Hyman. Like, there's not too many guys who can score 50-plus goals in the fashion that he does. He's going to go to the net. He'll pay the price, and he can finish in tight there. Just put pucks on net and let him do his job, and I hope they continue to do that, play with the skill that they can. But, yeah, that wouldn't be a huge concern for me right now.
Yeah. So I look at what they've done, and I really like Adam Henrique's a better 5-on-5 player than Nugent Hopkins. And, like, I see people still listing the Nugent Hopkins line as a second line. I don't understand it. They're not the second line. Henrique, Brown, and Skinner. Jeff Skinner is a top 20 5-on-5 point producer last few seasons in the NHL. And guess what? He's producing again 5-on-5. So, no, they're clearly the second line. You need more from the Nugent Hopkins, Arvidsson, Podkolzin. All 3 of them need to get going offensively. I would agree, but Nashville's going to say the same thing. They got a lot of guys who are shooting blanks for their team 5-on-5. Stamkos doesn't have a point. So, like, the only guys, Evangelista and Novak, have 2 points 5-on-5. Novak with both goals, Evangelista with an assist, and then Michael McCarron's got their other goal 5-on-5. Forsberg, O'Reilly, Nyquist, Stamkos, Marchessault, nothing. They're kind of similar to the Oilers after 3 games, right? With limited production from their top guys 5-on-5. So they need to get rolling. It's that simple. And when we come back, we'll talk to Lindsay Rowley about the Nashville Predators, the line juggling, and more on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
When interest rates are low, that's a good time to buy a vehicle. And 0% means it's a great time to buy. Right now, St. Albert Dodge can set you up with 0% financing on hundreds of vehicles. Virtually all new 2024 models. Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0%. Dodge Durango and Hornet. 0%. Ram 1500, 2500, and 3500 trucks, all as low as 0%. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
From bench to bench, sport to sport, Elite Promotional Marketing will help take your teamwear to the next level with a wide selection of uniforms, apparel, and promotional products. So when you want your team to look elite, head to elitepromomarketing.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
Brand new to Sports 1440 this hockey season is the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show with your host, Andrew Walker. Get expert analysis and so much more before every game this year. Sports 1440, Edmonton Sports Station.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program. It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding area continue to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
The zero-turn blowout sales event is on now at the Lawnmower Hospital. Get great savings on all in-stock zero-turn tractors from trusted brands like Toro, Country Clipper, and Hustler Turf. Backpack blowers are in stock for the leaves and fall cleanup. And of course, the snow. Our Toro snow blowers are in stock now too. Be prepared because winter will be here soon. LawnmowerHosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Cross Mitsubishi is giving you a chance to see a hockey game in style.
Just head to Cross Mitsubishi and take a test drive. You'll be entered to win a pair of hockey tickets to a November game, $200 for food and drinks, and 2 Edmonton jerseys of your choice.
Get in the game with Cross Mitsubishi, home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada and the 10-10-10 warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Mitsubishi.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team at Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$324. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. You get the daily grand at playalberta.ca. It's Thursday. You can win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. $7.2 million. Good luck. Playalberta.ca. I've talked about it for a while. Trust me. I'd love to win that. Wake up every day. Boom. Phone clicks. There's $1,000. Nice. Automatically, you're in a good mood. Be impossible not to. What'd you do today? Nothing. Got $1,000. Nice. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And it's also nice. Monopoly is back. Your favorite game with even more chance to win. You can double up. Play in-store or play it on the app. Furniture, vehicles, food, great prizes. Monopoly and McDonald's. And the Oilers... Hey, they feel lucky they go into Nashville where they've had loads of success, specifically Draisaitl and McDavid. Draisaitl has 21 points in his last 7 games in Nashville. Draisaitl has 23 goals in his last 14 games overall against the Preds. McDavid's running a 13-game point streak with 33 points. So you got to thank those two after finally waking up in Game 4. Should be pretty excited to go to Nashville tonight as the Preds ringside reporter, Lindsay Rowley, joins us. And Lindsay, the Preds, easier said than done, but Ryan O'Reilly and company will try to find a way to slow down a duo that has absolutely dominated them, specifically Draisaitl, like something we've really never seen. Only Gretzky and Bossy have ever scored 23 goals against an opponent in 14 games. Kind of crazy.
I know. We actually joke, our broadcast team, that he's the Pred killer because he's just, it's amazing. He's already insanely talented and difficult to contain on the ice, but whatever it is about playing against Nashville, he's at the top of his game. We also joke a little bit, like, can you imagine if the Preds and the Oilers ever faced off in the playoffs, what Draisaitl would do? Because he's already amazing in regular season. He would be, I can't imagine his game in the playoffs against the Preds. But no, it's going to be a tall task tonight for the Predators, no doubt about it, especially, McDavid being goalless through the first 4 games. I was speaking with head coach Andrew Burnett this morning about, you know that McDavid's going to come in here fired up, looking for goal number 1. And he goes, yeah, maybe he won't play, like totally joking. And he was like, no, we got to know where he is on the ice at all times and just be ready because, he's going to get his chances, and just hope that we don't give him we limit his quality chances as much as we can.
Yeah. And easier said than done. Lots of teams try to do it. They've done pretty well. It's kind of been a slow start by his standards. He still has a point a game, but it's been a quiet 4 points for McDavid. Now the Predators, lots of their big guys, are looking for stuff 5-on-5. Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault, like Novak and Evangelista are really the only guys going 5-on-5. But production-wise, because if I look at their shots and everything else, Lindsay, in those games against Dallas where they lost 4-3, and then they went to Detroit and they lost 3-0 with an empty netter, they doubled them in shots. So are they just snake bitten, or are they getting kind of, the easy shots that aren't great scoring chances?
I think it's the first 2 games, I think it was a case of snake bitten. I know that Coach Brunette, he didn't like the performance as much. He didn't mind the first 2 games. I know he didn't like the last performance against the Kraken. So I'm expecting them to come out tonight with a little bit of a fire under them. I know a part of it with the new guys is the system. Bruno plays a very fast system, a get out and go system. And it took, even last year when he came in, it took a while for the guys for it to click. And so I know that that's something that, Stamkos and Marchessault, still getting adjusted to, and Brady Shea for that matter. So I think there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. And even speaking with Bruno this morning about, he's tried to find the right line combinations for things to stick. And he said, I think it's just going to take some time right now because there are so many new guys. And it's kind of a whole new group and a whole new identity that they're really searching for and trying to find right now. But, he said, I'm not worried. He just thinks that they're starting to find their way. And when eventually it's all going to click.
So they've switched the lines again. Marchessault and Stamkos had played together for the first three. It looks like Stamkos is going to now play with Novak and Evangelista. And a lot of people thought Novak was going to be the guy to play with Stamkos and Marchessault. So
right.
Is it just because Novak and Evangelista have been playing so well, you're not going to split that duo up, which makes sense. But ultimately, do you think we will see Stamkos, Novak, and Marchessault at some point? And why haven't we?
We saw Stamkos, Novak, and Marchessault to start the season.
Okay.
That's the way they started game one. It did change in game one. He went away from it in game one, but it did start that way. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to that unless, like I said, like Bruno said this morning, he is looking to try different things. It would not shock me at all if it ended up changing tonight during the game, But I think you're right in the way that it would not be surprising to me at all. And that's nothing against Evangelista. I think she's a great player. I think that there's a chance that we could even see those changes happen tonight unless there's a spark. You never know what line is going to find chemistry and go on a run. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see things change up a little bit tonight. I think right now, like I said, they're just trying to find some of that chemistry in each of those bottom three lines that's going to work.
Lindsay Rowley joins us, ringside reporter for the Nashville Predators. Oilers in Smashville to take on the Preds tonight. How's Brady Shea looked in his first few games as a Pred?
He's looked good. He got his first goal last game as a Nashville Predator. I think it was nice for him to sort of, get goal number one, get that out of the way. I think that he's adjusting to the new system just like everybody else. Of course, as far as the pairs go and the way they start with Roman Josi and Dante Fabro together on that top pair, but of course there a lot of time where they're giving Roman Josi and Brady Shea time together, which I love watching them skate together and get that time. I think they read each other really well, which is fun to watch. But Brady Shea, just the amount of games he's played and the way he reads on the ice, I think once he truly gets adjusted to Bruno's system, he's going to be extremely noticeable on the ice, more than he already is with that veteran presence.
Looking at, Ryan O'Reilly, I assume, is going to get the matchup. He's their best defensive forward. When you look at Nashville overall, like Nyquist had a really good season last year. They talk about kind of the gel factor. Has Brunette said, does he just have to be patient, or is there anything he can do to try to speed up that process?
I think right now it's a matter of patience. I think that his effort in speeding that up is the way that he's kind of changed the lines. I think he's, as far as I know, now who knows, because we've seen him change lines that we didn't think he would change before. I think he's pretty concrete on that top line. Famous last words, I say that and watch like halfway through period one, he changes it. But no, I think he's, at this point, it's just a matter of patience and seeing things start to gel together. I think Philip Forsberg has had some amazing looks on that top line, and it's a matter of, I think he's a little snake bitten in himself. And Nyquist, I think, is doing a lot of the right things that he did last year. I think that, it wouldn't shock me. I think snake bitten, honestly, from the word that you used earlier, is perfect for that line in particular, because I think they've made some great plays and have had some issues finding the back of the net here early. So if that line goes on like a, I don't even know, 5-game goal streak, I would not be surprised at all. So I think they're doing all the right things, and they're just having a little bit of trouble finding the back of the net.
You talk about their identity. Are they playing a bit different? Has there been any tweaks systemically to how he wants them to play this year?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just, getting out of the zone early. And a lot of that, if you look at Stamkos, only played one style of play for his entire career. So that's a massive change for him. And Marchessault, and then, some of the younger guys, who've only played that style for 1 year, still getting adjusted. So I do think that it's just last year. I mean, I feel like our guys weren't really comfortable with Bruno's system until probably, I don't know, somewhere around the halfway through the year mark. So, and I don't expect it to take that long by any means at all. So, but I do think right now that's what they're going through is that adjustment of really getting, I feel like I've used this word way too much in this conversation. I apologize, but adjusted to the speed of Bruno's system and getting used to just like blowing the zone and going.
How has UC Saros played?
I really liked UC's game. I think he's given the guys a chance to win. Now you look at last game and you would wonder and say, well, what about UC's game? And quite frankly, I don't think he had a whole lot of help last game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Juices looks pretty solid early.
And people in Nashville, when you're looking at their team, I have to think the excitement level for how aggressive they were in the offseason. I know it's 3 games and everybody's super impatient and people want to see wins, but like did the fan base, they look like this had to have been, probably the most exciting offseason in the history of the franchise, I would think.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, I haven't been here since the beginning. I've been here 10 years, but I speak with like Pete Weber or Terry Chris, who have been here since the beginning, and they tell me like hands down, this was the most exciting offseason. So I think that the fans were just ecstatic on what Barry Trotz did. And I know that, speaking even with like the guys and the way that they found out about when Stamkos was coming and Marchessault was coming and Shea was coming. And so I think everybody's just super excited for this year. And you are right. Fans can be impatient, but I think in the same token, they know, the smart ones at least, know that there's a lot of talent on this team and the win is going to come. It would be really nice if it was tonight. Selfishly, I would not want to do another post-game show about a loss. So come on, guys, do it for me. But no, the wins are going to come with this group.
Well, you look at it against Edmonton, and you talked about Draisaitl factor, and like, because I looked it up and I got some help from the NHL. Like, to me, like 23 goals in 14 games, I was like, am I taking stats from my son's U13 game? Like, it's you just don't see. Honestly, you don't see that. And then he's got 37 points, and then it's like, oh, that McDavid guy is 33. Like that duo, it's really hard, and it's really been their power play too. Like their power play in Nashville. That's the other thing, Lindsay. It's some teams it's harder on the road, and people are like, hey, go to Smashville, it's party town. Well, Edmonton's party's been on the ice. And so how does the penalty kill try to slow down this Oilers power play? Even though I know this year their power play hasn't been great early, but historically it's been the best for the last 5 years in the league. Have you talked to any of the Preds penalty killers about what they can try to do different to slow them down?
Yeah, you're right. Fred killers. I'm telling you, those guys. No, but I think a lot of key is going to obviously be possession. Colton Sissons last year was fantastic in the face-off circle with being shorthanded. So I think a lot of that is going to come down to being successful in the face-off circle and trying to keep, it's cliche, but hey, keep the puck away from them. And they're talking about, being as risky as it sounds, being as aggressive as they possibly can against the Oilers power play. But that they're going to get their looks. They are extremely skilled. And it's one of those things where you just got to move on from, if you make a mistake, move on. So I think it's, you can't doubt that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to make plays and they're going to get their chances, because especially if you look at what they've done historically, it's going to happen. It's 100% going to happen. Yeah, no, it is inevitable. And you're just hoping, if you're Nashville, that you limit it would be obviously what they hope to do. Lindsay, we appreciate it. It should be a hell of an atmosphere. It always is in Nashville. Love that place. So enjoy the game tonight. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
That is Lindsay Rowley. 10 years as the ringside reporter in Nashville. And no joke. What's amazing about the Draisaitl streak is Mike Bossy, Wayne Gretzky. That's it for players who had 23 goals in a 14-game stretch against one opponent in the National Hockey League. Gretzky and Bossy did it. Gretzky actually did it twice, no surprise. St. Louis, he actually had 48 points in 14 games. 26 goals, 21 assists. And then he also had 24 and 17 for 41 points against the Maple Leafs. And Mike Bossy had 23 goals in 14 games with the Islanders against the Chicago Blackhawks. So now Draisaitl, if you're thinking, why not think the impossible? If he scores a hat trick tonight, he would then have 25 goals in 15 games period, which of course only Gretzky has done. Now, I know you say, oh, it's a hat trick. It's hard to do. I agree. But on the road, Draisaitl, 21 points in his last 7 road games in Nashville. So you never know. You never know. Those are some huge, huge numbers. We'll talk more on the orders and the Preds coming up a little bit later on. Also, Spec will be by a little earlier today at 4 o'clock. We have our pregame show starting at 5. We got Livingston coming up and much more on a busy Thursday edition. It's the Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can always text us 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here from Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference. Volvo of Edmonton.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapickout.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to elitepromomarketing.com.
The madness continues at the Brick. Find huge savings in every department, like up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number 1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Schweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhauk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhauk beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win friends with salad.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Cross Mitsubishi is giving you a chance to see a hockey game in style.
Just head to Cross Mitsubishi and take a test drive. You'll be entered to win a pair of hockey tickets to a November game, $200 for food and drinks, and 2 Edmonton jerseys of your choice.
Get in the game with Cross Mitsubishi, home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada and the 10-10-10 warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Ave and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For your residential water needs, your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.344, welcome back. Game day. Oilers' first road game of the season. They are in Nashville to take on the Predators. Calvin Pickard will get the start tonight, which means Stu Skinner should be the afternoon game against the Stars on Saturday. That's right, Oiler fans. Your first matinee of the year. It's supposed to be 19 degrees on Saturday. Declan, Kate, and I were all excited and hey, it's going to be 19. And then old Eeyore pipes up, it's supposed to snow on Monday. Geez, there's almost a brawl in studio when Cons piped that one out. What an idiot. Like, we're all excited. Plus 19. It's going to snow on Monday.
Someone's got to keep it real.
Oh, jeez. Terrible.
Falls on my shoulders.
Terrible timing. No, just zip it. Hold it in. It's one of those comments. I was like, was that a helpful comment? Was that necessary at that time? Did that fill anyone's bucket, as I like to say to my son? Fill the bucket? No, it didn't. So
it's real. Chirp, though.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Hey.
That was good. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Cantork. They offer sale, rental, repair, and collaboration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Check them out at cantork.com. As Colin Livingston joins us once again in studio. CL, how are you?
You know what? Another day in paradise. No snow until Monday, I hear.
Yeah, well, yeah. Although then it turns out it goes, I don't think it's supposed to snow. Terrible. So fail as a meteorologist pretty quickly there. And yeah, better not snow. Come on. I don't need snow. No snow until after Halloween. That's always my rule. I loved how trick-or-treating, so I'd like the kids to be snow-free if possible. Now, interesting news out of F1. They're going to get back on track, but they're eliminating the fastest point starting next season. Why? Fastest lap point, I should say.
Because it's stupid. The idea behind the fastest lap point was so that teams continue to push through the race, right? And it gives you incentive to run kind of more max speed throughout the event.
Yeah.
And what it's turned into since it was introduced was teams are still, they have to manage their tires because the current generation of Pirelli tire is so temperature sensitive. If you run as fast as a car wants to go, your tires are going to melt and fall off. If you run too slow and try and save too much, your tires aren't going to get into the right temperature window. They're going to have no grip, and you're going to stink on the track. So the teams really don't get the opportunity to run quote unquote flat out. What ends up happening in most cases is you get these predictable gaps where teams know, like, listen, we build up a delta of 25 seconds. We can pull in. We can put tires on. We can go out with 2 laps to go. We can rip a lap. We can get that point. We get the point. That also means that our rivals don't get the point. Not really the way that it was intended to go. So getting rid of it, especially after Singapore, which I think it's been a long time since we had a race, but I think Singapore was the last race where obviously Red Bull is been surpassed in the Constructors' Championship by McLaren. Max is under threat by Lando Norris for the Drivers' Championship. Max towards the end of the race had the fastest lap of the event, but their team car driven by Danny Ricciardo came in, put tires on, went out. He clipped the point, which is one less that Max could have had, which opens up a whole can of worms. The whatever they call them, the V-Carb team now says, well, we just wanted to send Danny out with a high note. But at the same time, I don't think anyone's stupid enough to believe that, they were actually thinking about what they could do for Danny as a parting gift. So, the fact that they have team cars on track that can help them along the way, that opens up a totally different discussion, but you get rid of that whole element and now teams are just racing and there's none of the shenanigans towards the end of the race.
Now, speaking of Red Bull, there's been all the talk that, their cost cap restrictions played a role in them losing Wheatley and Courtney and obviously Adam Newey. So it's the same for any of our non-racing fans. It's like they have a salary cap for their employees and stuff. And they're all up for free agency and all their contracts are up for renewal. Now, you can say, oh, we couldn't afford them all. Maybe that's true. How much of it is environment and the fact that there seems to be a lot of headbutting internally?
Well, I mean, the almighty dollar is very powerful. Obviously, when those very highly sought after individuals became available, a lot of teams expressed a lot of interest. Jonathan Wheatley, he's moving up in the world. Adrian Newey signed a very, very, very lucrative deal that had Red Bull tried to match these offers, it would have hurt their cap space and they would have much less to put on the car or into the car. The way that it seems like some of these teams are getting around it, though, like Aston Martin, who signed Newey, it seems like he's working off of a relatively small base salary, but they've offered him the equivalent of what he demanded for a salary in company shares, which as the brand increases and improves is going to net him a very, very tidy return. But it's interesting because, we talked, I think it was last week, about the fact that, Sergio Perez has racked up so much crash damage where he's like, $1.5 million above anybody else. He's pushed over $5 million in crash damage. That's a significant percentage of what the overall team budget is. So these kinds of things start adding up. I mean, obviously the fact that it's a fairly toxic environment at Red Bull right now with the constant infighting between their advisor Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, and Jos Verstappen, it pushes a lot of people away as well.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. There's 6 races to go. Max has a 52-point lead, but that has been cut significantly over the past 7 races as McLaren's kind of taken over as the top one. Now they lead the Constructor Series by 41 points over Red Bull. But if you look in the last 7 races, Colin, just laps led, you have Norris with 150, Piastri 118. Then it's all the way down to 39. With Leclerc, 31 with Russell, 30 with Hamilton. Max Verstappen is 6th at 25 laps left. Like they really haven't been close to being the dominant team anymore. But 52 points in 6 races is still a significant amount. Right?
Yeah, the average is it's like they've got to outfinish. Lando has to outpace Max in the best case scenario by about 8 points per race to really close it in. I think that's how the math works. If Lando wins everything and Max, they have to have that kind of spread at the end of the weekend. I guess it doesn't matter how you get there. It's possible for sure. I think it's unlikely. The thing that
unless Max crashes in one race, right? Or something like
that.
That
obviously but then that point spread in that race could be 25 points.
Yes.
And then now we only need 27 points over the last 5 races. So it is possible. The thing that McLaren has going for it, obviously, as you just cited, the top 2 drivers for laps led are both McLaren drivers. Max is like 6th on the list, and Perez, his teammate, is nowhere to be found because he just has struggled. So the Red Bull, it's easy to kind of frame things however you want, but that's a very good synopsis of who's doing what right now over the last bunch of races. McLaren's kicking ass. The only reason that Red Bull is even kind of still in the hunt is that Max is that good of a driver that he can overcome that car's weaknesses way better than Perez can, but as they don't have Perez doing anything to help Max. I mean, he's clearly the second driver on that team, but he can't get into he's getting knocked out in Q1. He's making mistakes in the race. He's, there's all kinds of things that if they have 2 cars that are challenging, at least at the same pace, one car can do a lot to slow other people down so that you get more of a gap when you need to make a pit stop, or, there's so many things that can happen. I mean, the constructors, I think, is firmly in McLaren's grasp, but Red Bull will, like, everyone's kind of releasing their last upgrades of the season this weekend in Austin. Whether it's enough, Red Bull isn't suddenly going to go from kind of struggling the way they have to being back in the hunt. Hopefully they can find some speed, and they've also got to hope that teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren don't find a little
another level,
that silver bullet that's going to put them that much further ahead.
Colin Livingston joins us in the Cantor Grayson Report. What's interesting about, you say how Perez is the second racer? Well, according to Max, he shouldn't settle for that. Like you saw Max. F1's great for trying to create a little drama, and I don't have a problem with it, right? Because you first come out and Max is like, well, Piastri shouldn't be settling for being the number 2 racer there. He should want to be the number 1, and I think there's some truth to that. But I also think there's one to say, hey, can we try to disrupt them? Like, I would hope Piastri would see through that. Then Marco comes out and says that Lando Norris isn't the strongest mentally, whatever the hell that means. But it's just, to me, we're starting to see a little mental warfare here, hoping that they can try to do anything because they know that right now they can't compete with the car. So let's see if we can get in their head a little bit.
It's truly becoming an act of desperation for these guys. Like, I really think we should think about a sub feature during this segment of like, what was the dumb thing that Helmut Marko said last week? Because it never ends that no matter what their team's doing, he's got some contrarian position. He has no perception of how his things are going to affect his team or the other team. But the fact that he's talking about Norris's mental abilities, I go back to when those two were racing at Austria, really for the first time.
Yes.
Like, yes, Norris won the race in Miami, but it was because they overtook during a pit stop. They were never really on track at the same time. This was the first time that they were really racing, and Max knew that Norris was better. And Max went back to old Max, where he drove desperate, he drove belligerent, he was like overly aggressive.
That's when he crashed him out, right?
And they both crashed, and they both didn't finish. And then, within, I don't know if these guys think that nobody has any memory, but that is a sign of mental weakness, is to not be aware enough in the situation to say, like, listen, I can finish second here. The point spread is going to be, not so bad. The fact that he risked both of their personal safety, made this overly aggressive move, that's not a sign of mental toughness. You can get to the level of like a Michael Schumacher when they were racing 1997 against Villeneuve. Villeneuve was about to make the pass to become the world champion. Schumacher made an attempt to take him out, got unfortunate with where he made contact. Schumacher's out. Villeneuve carries on, and Villeneuve becomes the 97 champion. These guys have, for the most part, they have that kind of awareness. But yeah, I don't think that a lot of people are going to take the words of Marco and Verstappen, where they question what their other team is doing, as anything more than an attempt to rock the boat.
Yeah. I'm all here for it, though. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the drama. What are you expecting on the track this weekend after a month off?
It'd be really interesting to see if Mercedes can undo a lot of the nonsense that they've been going through. They've got their last big upgrade of the season. Would be nice, for Lewis to have a little bit of success as he's leaving. I mean, he's only ever driven in Formula One in a Mercedes powered car. That's a little bit more sentimental than anything practical. Right. It'd be great to see Ferrari start to turn things around a little bit. I mean, I think they've been making some smarter moves throughout the season. And then, I mean, the infighting at Red Bull, it's either going to motivate people to do better, or they're as things get tighter and tighter, the bites are going to become more vicious, and they could potentially unravel.
If Max doesn't win this year, will that be the biggest lead that's ever been relinquished in F1 history?
I can't answer that, but the stat that they're citing a lot right now is how long a driver has gone from their last win to still claim the title, which was Jenson Button in the Braun car, where they had this double diffuser deal that just gave them a wicked advantage over everyone until the other teams kind of figured it out mid-season. And then they were kind of clawing onto everything before Button ended up claiming it. Max, if he wins, won't have it's within hundredths of a percentage point, I think, from what I read this morning. But yeah, this would be a shocking midseason turnaround.
And quickly, Hontoria wants to know about the news out of Autosport today that Red Bull having the adjustable T-bar in front of the ride being illegal. Does that nuke them? What does that mean?
So it's a device on the front of the car that will help control the ride height. And the rule states, this is a very, very simplified version, but the rule states that where you set this for qualifying, it has to remain the same throughout the race. You can't touch it. You can't adjust it. It was announced this morning that a team was potentially running this different style that allowed the teams to change their ride height between qualifying and the race. It was later revealed in the day that was actually Red Bull. Now they're saying, well, no, the way ours is set up, it can't be changed, but we're going to change it because the FIA said we have to change it. So there's obviously something there. This is now twice that Red Bull's had kind of mid-season infractions that haven't resulted in penalties. There was a deal with the way that their brake bias, like their rear brake loading system, worked to help them get through the corners faster.
Okay.
And now this. So, realistically, this is one of the kinds of things that they would have been running all year. Nobody caught on to it. It gave them a great advantage in qualifying and didn't penalize them in the race, which starts to call things into question. But this is also a big part of what racing is, and specifically Formula One is trying to work into these areas
100%.
that other people haven't thought of. So
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Not that you're cheating, but you're kind of thinking ahead that someone hasn't looked at. So.
There's almost everything that we see on our street cars is the result of some kind of ingenious invention that someone came up with in racing that just made it to the street.
Great stuff, Colin. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
It's Colin Livingston in the Racing Report, brought to you by Cantork. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Fountain Tire. It's harvest time. You can get great deals on farm tires up until November 1st. Save $150 on Alliance tires and $200 on select Goodyear and Titan tires. Some restrictions apply. Find a dealer near you at fountaintire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
It's game day. The Oilers, their first road game of the season down in Nashville, taking on the 0-3 Preds. Puck drop 2 hours away. Our pregame coverage gets going at 5 o'clock. We got Andrew Walker, Jason Gregor, and Donovan Paulson right here on Sports 1440. Calvin Pickard gets the nod between the pipes for the Oil. Busy night in the NHL. You also have the Kings taking on the Canadians. Sens host the Devils. Golden Knights taking on the Lightning. Canucks in Florida. Capitals, Stars, Rangers, Red Wings. Blues host the Islanders, and the Sharks in Chicago. Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed will not play tonight. He's undergoing surgery to repair meniscus. Looks like he could potentially miss the entire season. The Saints, of course, hosting the Broncos to kick off Week 7 in the NFL. Chris Olave also will not go for the New Orleans Saints. Major League Baseball right now, Guardians lead the Yankees 2-1 in the bottom of the third in the ALCS. The Yankees up in that series 2-0. Later tonight, the Dodgers will look to take a commanding 3-1 series lead over the Mets. First pitch set for 6:08. The Edmonton Oil Kings are in action in town, hosting the Saskatoon Blades down at Rogers Place. That one gets going just after 7. And in the BCHL, the showcase going on out in BC. Of course, the Saints taking on the Chilliwack Chiefs. Puck drop after 8 o'clock. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector. We'll also ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Marathon, the Original, and the Orangesicle. Made with oranges, orange sorbet, and vanilla frozen yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You'll see us digging holes. No, we're not looking for buried treasure. You'll see us digging trenches as well. And no, we're not building a fort. We're GS Construction, and you'll see us in neighborhoods throughout the Edmonton area. So what are we doing? GS Construction provides rehabilitation and upgrade services to Edmonton and surrounding communities. Some of our underground utilities have served us for years and are past their useful lives. We replace them, so they're around for years to come. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Sports 1440 is ready to talk hockey with you after every game this season. The post-game show with Andrew Walker is brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. Tune in after the next game.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party.
James wide receiver.
On the Rocks.
Eyes him in the race, which starts to call
150 on
this invention that
great stuff. And a sports next on limits in the racing report brought to you by 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Your co-op grow team are your local experts because we live here too. Our agronomic specialists stay up to date with the latest research and technology to help support your entire farm operation. Talk to our team for advice tailored to your farm's needs. We have recommendations to help you optimize your crop yield and quality while enhancing the health of your land. Co-op, we're all growing together. Here for your farm, here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
Just over 2 hours away from puck drop tonight in Nashville. Welcome back. It's game day, Thursday edition of the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Also, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for watching and listening as you get set for the first road game. Hey, it's not an 8 o'clock start tonight. It's great. The 8 o'clockers are getting a little too much early on. So you have a 6 o'clock today. And then Saturday, just a reminder, Oiler fans, get yourself ready for an afternoon game against the Dallas Stars. That goes at 2 o'clock Edmonton time on Saturday. Stuart Skinner will start Saturday, it looks like, as Calvin Pickard is getting the start tonight. And then the Oilers next week, only 2 games. They have both at home, Carolina on Tuesday, and then it is a Hall of Fame night next Friday, when the Pittsburgh Penguins come to town. Sidney Crosby, the NHL's leading scorer of Jenny Malkin. Will he still be? And he's 3 points up on everybody. Oh, Gino. going back in time. He's on fire right now for the Penguins. And then after that, the Oilers will head on a road trip where they are in Detroit, Columbus. They're in Nashville again, exactly 2 weeks from today on Halloween night. They take on the Preds, and then they'll finish up that 4-game road trip in Calgary. Kind of a rare, odd road trip where they play back-to-back. Then they play Sunday, Monday, then 2 days off, play Thursday, then 2 days off. So not really that difficult, but they're in Calgary on the Sunday, and then they're home against New Jersey on Monday the 4th, and then Vegas comes down a little bit ways away. They actually play the Preds again, 3 Thursdays, basically every second Thursday for the next month. They play them tonight, then they play them on the 31st, and then they play them on the 14th, and that's it for the season series against the Preds. So maybe a good time for the Oilers to get the Preds, who are off to a slow start this season. Limited offense right now. Well, now let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. They got the actually, no, we won't. We'll get to that later. I forgot. Usually, you know what? I'm so in the rhythm of always 5 o'clock with our buddy Spec that today I forgot we're early with Spec. So we'll get to the oil report next segment. Let's get to Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction, where the underground infrastructure never stops. You might not see it, but it is always important. And if you want to work for a great company who are huge fans, just like you, maybe you get even some spare tickets to go to the game. GS Construction. They're hiring at Indeed.com. Mark Spector joins us. Spec, my apologies. I forgot that you're on an hour earlier today. How you doing?
Hey, Christmas comes early today, huh, Jay?
Yeah. Nice. Good one. Well, hey, Christmas comes early if you're Draisaitl and McDavid. They're going into a place where right now, oh my goodness, there's no way those two can, even though they haven't played great this year up until the last 5 minutes of the Philly game. When you consider Draisaitl has 21 points in his last 7 games in Nashville, McDavid has I think it's 20 in those 7 games, but he also is riding a 13-game point streak against the Preds. Draisaitl's got 23 goals in 14 games. Whew. You know what? They're walking in there, Spec, like I used to walk into Goose Looney's, feeling all excited on a Saturday night.
Yeah, back in the day. I don't know what it is. We've all watched Draisaitl own the Preds here for a few years.
Wow, it's crazy.
Listen, the important thing for the Oilers is those two they played 12 periods of hockey here, and the first 11 of them weren't very good.
No.
It's, whoever they're playing tonight, those guys need to take that springboard off the third period of last night's or the Philly game, third period in overtime, and turn it into something. They need to kickstart a season here, because a huge reason why the Oilers had a brutal start this year was because 97-29 had a brutal start this year.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. And I think they'd be the first ones to admit it, that their game hasn't been at the level that they would like it to be. Now, that's the wonders of even though McDavid does have a point a game right now, he hasn't come close to playing to his level. Neither is Draisaitl, who has 2 goals, right? Like, hey, you're on pace for 40 goals. You're like, nah, that's not bad, but not when you're Leon Draisaitl. It's not just the points for those guys. Nope. I don't think they'd be nearly as consistently dangerous as you would like. So I liked it. I think it was an obvious decision to keep them together, especially the way your second line's playing right now with Henrique and Brown, because Nashville comes in, Spec. They're doing what the Oilers are doing in their first few games. They're looking for new combinations. They switched up their lines again tonight in hopes of trying to find some offense, because Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault, O'Reilly, nobody has a goal at Nyquist. Nobody has a goal 5-on-5 yet for the Preds.
Yeah, they're going to break out against somebody. So you just hope it's not you, right? There's good players there, man. Those guys you just named, they're all good, veteran, productive NHL players. Those guys are going to get going. Let's hope for the Oilers' sake they can get out of town before that happens.
Yeah. What do you make of the Skinner or Pickard start tonight?
Well, I think that, I know that that's a decision that would have been made, 3 weeks ago? 2.5 weeks ago, 3.5, a long time ago. They would have sat down and scripted out their first, probably through the end of November, who they think's going to start, barring any injury or unforeseen. So, there's been 4 games played. Skinner started 3 of them. and 2-game road trip. The games are all spaced out here. You can't play Skinner every night. I thought Skinner would play tonight personally, but
Me too.
surprise me that it doesn't surprise me that they would split this 2-game road trip. And
no,
turns out Pickard gets Nashville and Skinner will get Dallas.
Yeah. Well, you look at, and because my theory is, and everybody's different. For me, when you're going to split the next 2 games, I want to play my best goalie against the team that I don't think is as good, because I want to give myself better odds to get at least 2 points. Okay. Now, that might be that's just my thought process on it. And especially because Skinner is coming off, I thought, his best game of the season, right? I thought he was pretty good in that Philly game. He made some really good saves. I had no issue with any of the goals that he allowed. I thought he made some good stops. And so you want him to build off of it, but maybe he looks and they're like, hey, we want our guy against Dallas. That's going to be a big game. That's going to be an emotional game. The Stars are going to be a little thirstier than they would be normally in a regular season game because of the team that knocked them out. So, maybe it's that. I don't know. But, we'll see. Hey, if they win tonight, then obviously it's the right decision. If Pickard played poorly, then you're open up. But, it's always hindsight. We knew they were splitting. I kind of like to get the first one and then roll the dice and see if you get the second one, but obviously not going that way.
Yeah, no, I said on Kevin's show this morning, I expected it to be Skinner tonight and Pickard on Saturday. So I think we're barking up the same tree here. But you know what? Both of them need to play. Skinner, I agree with you. Skinner was looking for traction and found some against Philly. That's why I keep playing him. If I'm coaching the team, I think he just gave me his best 3 periods of the year. Let's get him right back in the nets. But Pickard's got to find his game too. He got the surprise relief in the first game, and then he started game 2 and he wasn't great. And he missed a bunch of preseason, right? With that concussion or whatever it was. So you're going to need them both going. So they got to play. It's up to the coach. He splits them up however he splits them up. But it does not surprise me one bit to see them split this 2-game roadie, because both guys got to get the game going.
Yeah. And obviously, when you look at the amount of games, it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio. If you're going to have, 50 to 25, that gets you to 75 games. And then, a few extras for Skinner here. So they're kind of on that pace right now. After through 6 games, it'll be 4 starts Skinner, 2 starts Pickard.
Yeah, that's fair. And the one thing to put into the mix this year might be Skinner might be playing hockey over the All-Star break here. Right. There's every chance he might be part of that Team Canada. He has to have a good season, and I'm not giving him the job. But you know what? If I'm the Oilers, I'm wary of the fact that when they come back, and I think after that 4 nations face-off thing, the Oilers open on the road, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Philly even. I may want to play Pickard a couple in a row there. I may want to give my A goalie a couple days off that he didn't get during the break.
Yeah, the good, I know if he starts, the maximum he would play is 4 games. And I don't know if one goalie is going to play all 4 anyway, right? So I look at that. I don't know if it's going to be as taxing as some people think, to be honest, right? He might end up playing 2 games if he's on the team, and he might not even be on the team. We'll have to see, right? Montembeault, Hill, Binnington, Skinner. I think those are probably the 4 guys right now that they're going to decide upon, and who's ever going. If Skinner plays like he did last year under Chris Knobloch, then he's got a very strong reason to go there, right? Binnington might get the nod because of experience potentially, so we'll have to see kind of how it goes. But I think there is some extra motivation there for Stu Skinner, no doubt.
Oh, for sure. And there's not a lot of games, but the point is he'll be on for the whole week. He'll be practicing. He'll be focused. He'll be immersed in hockey. Well, everybody else is taking 10 days off and going to Mexico. The guys that go there aren't going to get a break. I'm not saying they're playing a ton of hockey, but they're not going to get that break everyone else is getting. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how many games he'll play. I don't know if he'll make the team, but if he's part of that thing, you're going to want to give him a couple days off when it's over. There's no doubt about it.
Looking at the defense, I said at the start, I always thought Stetcher was the best fit to be with Nurse. Now, it was a super uber small sample size of 7 games, but their numbers were actually really good together last year when Stetcher came over after the deadline and played with Nurse in those games. And then you throw in what he did the last game. Stetcher's definitely earned himself another start there, Spec. But what do you think he has to do to take that spot? Is it just simply, kind of play a game like he did last game? Not obviously fight, but 5-on-5, I thought they were pretty good, actually.
They were, and Nurse was good, and Stetcher was good. It's a weird deal. Like, when I look at the Oilers' defense, they're missing a number 4 defenseman. They're missing a second pairing guy. It's obvious. We've known it since the start. They've got a 1-2 pairing in Ekholm and Bouchard. That's just fine. Nurse is an absolutely bona fide second pairing defenseman. I don't care what he makes. He's just fine as your number 3 if he's got the right partner. Kulak is an excellent number 5, and they got a whole bunch of guys who are 6s. So everyone's freaking out over their defense. They're missing a number 4, and you can go get a number 4, and they will go get a number 4, Jay. You're not looking for a first line center here. You're not looking for a starting goalie, right? You're looking for a second pairing defenseman. They're going to get him. And I think, and I'm with you, I've thought most of the way here. I knew Emberson was going to get the first look, but at 500 games, I think Stetcher's been the most, if I was putting $100 on somebody to take that job and play with Nurse before the season started, my money was on Stetcher because he's experienced, he's been around, he's been under fire. We're not looking for a guy to come out and be a fantastic player. We're looking for a placeholder here, a guy that can settle Nurse down, that could get you through some games. We're not looking at a guy that's going to get power play time or we're expecting 40 points out of none of that stuff, right? Just a solid puck-moving defender who can get off and on the ice and we're barely going to notice you. I think Stetcher's got that in him all day long.
Yeah. And really, I would say I don't think settled down Nurse because I feel I actually think Nurse outside of maybe one play has actually been pretty good through the first 4 games. I know people focus on him icing the puck, whatever. Ices a puck there. As defensive as I actually think is defensively, I think he's been way more aggressive. Like you're seeing him getting the scrums quickly. I think he might have realized like there's no Kane, there's no Desharnais. We need somebody here to elevate. And I think Nurse plays better when he's angry. I really believe that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's an element of his game that he can be very valuable with. Like when Nurse doesn't use that part of his game where he challenges people, where he presents like, I don't really want to F around with this guy because he's 6'4" and rangy and long and he skates fast. And if he wants to be scary, he can be. When he doesn't have that in his game, Jay, I mean, that's like a fastball slider pitcher who says, I'm not throwing my slider anymore. Like it's a big part of his game and he's good at it. And go talk to anybody he's fought. We've seen Nurse fight enough. He doesn't lose, right? I'm not telling you he wins every night, but you don't beat up Darnell Nurse because his arms are 5 feet long and he's big, tall, and strong as hell. That's a part of his game he should bring to the table all the time. And if he did more of that, I'll tell you what, all the Nurse haters out there would forget a little bit about that icing call if he was getting his hands a little more dirty physically. And you're right. I've seen more of that this year too. And it is welcome from this side of the table and inside his dressing room. The boys in there are pretty happy to see it too. I'll tell you that for sure.
The Nashville Predators, Spec, a team where basically they're identical to what the Oilers were through 3 games. Although arguably they might have played a little bit better than Edmonton did in their first 3 games, but they really can't score. Their power play hasn't scored. It's 1 for 11. They're not getting any production 5-on-5 from their top guys. So it's almost like you just change the storylines. You put the Nashville Predators on it. Now the difference is they don't have a McDavid or a Draisaitl. Philip Forsberg and Steven Stamkos are good, but they're not in the same category. However, one shot from either one, and boom, that could change quickly. I look at the Oilers and the importance of matchups tonight. We know Ryan O'Reilly's likely going to get the Draisaitl line. I'm guessing it's Henrique against that Novak Evangelista line. If they can get the matchup, either one, them or Nugent Hopkins. Like if I look at the important line tonight, the line that's done the least has been, or even just as players, like Arvidsson can't hit the net. Him, Nugent Hopkins, and Podkolzner, the 3 forwards, I think if I had to rank them 10, 11, 12, they would be 10, 11, 12 as far as effectiveness through 4 games.
Yeah, I'm not against you there. I think Nugent Hopkins has been deathly silent for 4 games, and I haven't loved Arvidsson's game one bit. Now, I'm going to say to you that Arvidsson came in here and he's Draisaitl's right winger, and Draisaitl hasn't been any good. So guys playing with Draisaitl, I don't know how much of a chance they've had to be good, my friend. You know, when Draisaitl's the guy with the puck and he drives that line, it's a rare day when he has a bad game, but his wingers have good ones. It's a rare day. So I'll give you that. Podkolzin's a 4th line guy. I'm not pinning it on him to come in here and be a
I'm just saying, though, because as a trio, if you were ranking them, like Derek Ryan's played well, Corey Perry's done a lot, you know, but if you had to rank them, those 3 would be the bottom 3 ranked forwards, would they not?
I guess, sure. I mean, I'm trying to think. I haven't minded Skinner, actually. Skinner's been
been really good.
Yeah, Skinner's been pretty good. But sure, I mean, I'll give you that. You know, Hyman's been okay too, but he doesn't have any points. Nothing's going in for him. You get the feeling that it's going to start pretty soon. So, I mean, I'll give you that. Sure, okay. I haven't liked Arvidsson or RNH. I kind of defer on Podkolzin because he's just a kid. They got bigger problems than Podkolzin, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, like I look at him and I like Podkolzin's game. I'm not saying he's played poorly. They're just, you know, he skates well. He can be physical. There's a potential there. Like that's a line where I look at tonight, and they don't have to be great because I think the top line and the second line are the ones you're going to rely on most for offense. But if that line could get going, all of a sudden, Spec, it changes a lot even more and makes it a potentially dangerous team a lot more dangerous.
Oh, come on. Like if Nuge is playing and Arvidsson's playing and Podkolzin's riding along with those guys, sure, there's a ton of talent there. But I guess what I would say to you is if Nugent Hopkins doesn't get going and Arvidsson doesn't get going, Podkolzin ain't going to be the guy driving that line. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah. So, I'd probably have Podkolzin 10 then. And Arvidsson 11 and Nuge 12. I think Nugent Hopkins has done the least amount for what his potential is.
Yep.
He's been the quietest for sure.
He's been really quiet. And you know, that's part of why the power play is getting nothing done. Just a part. I'm not blaming it on Nugent Hopkins, but a good Nugent Hopkins makes that power play a lot better.
Yeah. Spec, enjoy the game tonight. We will chat at you tomorrow and see if the Oilers are winners of 2 in a row.
Oh, wouldn't that be something to see? Thanks, Jay.
Have a good one. Then we could talk about a big Western Conference rematch on Saturday. A little extra juice in the 6th game of the regular season. It is a busy Thursday night, and if you haven't tried it, the Amazon, you can watch it tonight. And they go around, and for anybody who's a big NFL fan, right, and you've got all the games, just highlight package after highlight package, because you got the Kings are in Montreal, Ottawa hosts New Jersey, Tampa and Vegas, Vancouver is in Florida. Canucks still looking for their first win of the season. The Stars look to remain perfect. They're 4-0 in Washington. Sabres and Blue Jackets, each with 1 win. The Rangers in Detroit, Islanders in St. Louis. And Philip Broberg is trying to become the first Blues defenseman in history to get a point in his first 5 games as a defender. See if he does that. Oilers in Nashville. They're 0-3. Sharks in Chicago, and Philly continues their road trip. They are in Seattle taking on the Kraken, who in the last on Tuesday when the Oilers beat the Flyers, Seattle and Nashville were tied at 3 going into the 3rd period. And then they scored 3 goals in the first 11 minutes and beat the Preds 7-3. So Preds are probably going to be a little bit angry tonight. I think a start will be crucial for Edmonton. The Oilers have scored first once in 4 games. The Predators have scored first 0 in 3 games. So somebody's looking for a better start tonight. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got the oil report. This time it is the oil report, right, Conman? Coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, noods. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
Need a truck? Want a great deal on a truck? Get into Wolf GMC Buick. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. Take advantage of 0% financing on Sierra half-tons. Oh, and guess what? GMC employee pricing is back on all in-stock 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons. That means thousands of dollars in savings on GMC Sierra 3/4 ton and 1 ton. Also thousands off the industry-leading SUV, the GMC Yukon. Get to Wolf GMC Buick now and drive away with money off and a smile on. Just off the Anthony Henday.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The madness continues at the Brick. Find huge savings in every department, like up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the Orangesicle, the Marathon, and the Original, made with oranges, bananas, strawberry sorbet, and probiotic yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
At the end of the day, I don't just feel like I worked hard. I can see my hard work with my own eyes. At the end of the day, I come home to my own place. At the end of the day, I know I'm making a difference in my community. At the end of the day, I grab a bite with my coworkers, or as I like to call them, my friends. At the end of the day, I wouldn't trade a career in the trades for anything.
Get more with a career in the trades. Explore careers at alberta.ca/trades. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Well, we continue on. Game day also, MLB playoffs continue on as the Cleveland Guardians looking to get back in that series. They trail 2-1, but currently have a 2-1 lead over the Yankees later on tonight. The Mets and the Dodgers. Did you see the Shohei Ohtani home run last night? Man. And I tweeted out the numbers for Shohei. It's kind of crazy. When there's runners on base, it's just like he gets zeroed in. And he's hitting 778 with runners on base. But he's hitting 0 with nobody on base. It's crazy. Crazy. But that guy, man, that was an absolute moonshot yesterday in the second deck. So that guy is much fun. I had someone try to tell me he's overrated. Like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, oh, he's only did it 1 year. He never did this in Anaheim. I'm like, what? He had 46 and 41 home runs and 100 fewer at bats than he had 54 this year. And oh, by the way, he was striking out 200 batters as a pitcher. Overrated. All that happened was this year he just showed everyone, you know what? I can't pitch, so I'm going to steal bases now. You want me to steal bases? I'll steal bases. You want me to throw Ks and strike guys out? I'll do it. You want me to hit home runs, hit for average? I'll do it. Like, he can do everything. There's no player in the game. There's no player in the world who does everything at elite level in their sport like him. Right? It's like a quarterback or a great receiver. You're playing both ways all the time and dominating. It's like McDavid would play forward and then someday he'd either have to play defense, but probably play goaltending. It's ridiculous. Like, there's no one else to. Now, every sport's different. I get it. But what Shohei Ohtani's doing is something we've never seen before and should be greatly appreciated. It's unreal. I love watching him. Like, he is must watch TV for me right now. Now, let's get to the oil report. It was a little early last time, but we're ready to roll the oil report, brought to you by Volvo Cars. Edmonton, 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service, and they've got the new 2025 XC90s and the XC90 plug-in hybrids, but they're going fast, man. They are zooming off the lot. If you want one, get in now at volvocarsedmonton.com. Calvin Pickard is getting the start tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, and Pickard just talked about the opportunity for him to get back in between the pipes.
It's obviously a good chance to bounce back for me personally. Not the start I wanted against Chicago, but you have to have a short-term memory in this league, and it's a great opportunity. It's a fun place to play, and looking to continue on from what we did the other night.
And that other night was, I think Edmonton, they were down 2-0. They didn't really panic. They just slowly clawed their way back in the game. Then they got an unlucky break, the Ekholm own goal. They overcame that, tie it late, and then win it in overtime. And we'll see if they can build on. That's kind of symbolic a little bit of what that team did. As they've said, it's unacceptable. Dig in. You've seen it all. Right? You know it all about how they seem to make it a little bit harder than it should be at times, especially when you started like Calgary and Chicago. There's no way they should have got swept against those two teams, but it happened. Chris Knobloch just talked about how he's hoping, they go on the road and what he's looking for in building off of that victory over the Flyers.
Early in the season, I always like starting on the road just because you get to play, and at home you're always thinking you got to perform, you got to put on a good show. And when you're on the road, it's just about going out and playing on the ice and not worrying about anything else. Now, last game, I thought we did a pretty good job of having that emotion, and there's some adversity, a lot of it self-inflicted adversity, but we stuck with it, and we did a lot of good things, and I liked how we persevered through the adversity, which there was some, and hopefully we built some momentum.
Well, you want to try to get going on a little bit of a roll. Every team will say that. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl will remain together, and he just talked about the reasoning why he was sticking with those two for this game.
Yeah, we've changed up the lines quite a bit through the start of the season, and it's something I don't like doing. And there's times that you want to match up, or change up lines where your team's not playing very well, or line matchups, home, away, whatever. It's the opposition is trying to do what you want to do. But we've done enough, and we're just trying to build off that victory from last night. And, early in the game, it's not looking well. We obviously know what our team looks like with Connor and Leon centering their own lines. So it's something that's going to go back and forth, and it's a long season, and we're just trying to find out what's best for this team this year.
To me, it makes sense. Now, against Dallas, because of their top six, I could potentially see them, moving Nugent Hopkins back there, putting Draisaitl back with Arvidsson. I could definitely see it. And then, would you switch Podkolzin and Skinner, or would you just leave Podkolzin there? I guess that'll remain to be seen. You'd like one of Arvidsson or Podkolzin to get going because then they just got a little bit extra juice. It's just how it is. And here was Knobloch's reasoning on why they were going with Picker tonight and not Skinner, and obviously likely will be Skinner on Saturday.
Obviously, the first game wasn't his best, but we know that he's always responded and had an outstanding season last year, and just come and play in this game because we've got a lot of confidence in him. He's a good goalie.
That's what you want, right? Your coach got to believe in you. Players want to believe in him. And lastly, he just talked about it's something that I guess it's a good trait to have, but you probably don't want to overuse it too often, because if you overuse it too often, it means that you're always putting yourself in a position where you need to be resilient. And you know what? 0-3 was not good. And geez, they were 4 minutes away from being 0-4, but managed to get the win. And Knobloch talked about his resiliency for his group and how that maybe can help them push forward.
Well, it's something that's built up over a course of time. And last year, you look at the adversity we were through, the start of this team had, but throughout the year, there's always stuff that happens, bad calls, bad luck, whatever it is. And, by playoffs times, you could see how mature and resilient we were, because things that maybe would rattle other teams didn't rattle us. And, we've got a different team this year, but the majority of the guys, the leadership, the older guys are pretty much all intact. So it's something that's beneficial for us moving forward, because I think it's important to know that no matter what happens, we can handle it and we'll play through it.
So there you go. That's Chris Knobloch. That's the Oil Report, brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Lots of text line in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. In our inbox, it's time to amp up your game with your partners in Powered ewell.ca, your online source for quality electrical gear and expert advice on all things electrical, ewell.ca. Hey, boys, I saw Ohtani pitch in Anaheim once. He struck out 10 and hit 2 dingers. It was unreal from the Ukrainian sensation. Hey, guys, Ohtani's playing a DH position 100% right now. Well, yeah, because he's rehabbing. Also, can you name any other DH who hits leadoff and steals 50 bases? 50 home runs? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Are we seriously trying to suggest he's not something we've never seen in pro sports? Hey, guys, I don't think he's overrated. He's just overpaid like live golfers. Sports salaries like that are screwed up from Nogi. Well, here's maybe the difference for the live golfers. Shohei Ohtani, go look at his jersey sales. And look at all the merchandise. LA gets their money back easily. That's why he gets paid so much. Now, live golfers, you got a fair point. They're not selling remotely same sort of but you know what? That's run by a country now that owns it, that just, they got money to burn, so they're just burning down on players. They're trying to buy everything in sports. Now, if you were one of those athletes and somebody offered you a boatload of money to do it, would you say no? Be honest. Would you say no? It might be harder than you think. When we come back, 5 questions. We got the pregame show coming up. Myself, Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, coming up at 5 o'clock as the Oilers into Nashville to take on the Predators tonight. As you're listening to Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The madness continues at the Brick. Find huge savings in every department, like up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
Raise a smoothie to any friend you've had since 1999. That's a good friend. And Booster Juice was there. Now celebrating 25 years in Canada and more than 450 locations from coast to coast. A silver anniversary splashed with lots of oranges. Celebrate 25 years of Booster Juice with the return of OG favorite smoothies like the original, the Orangesicle, and the Marathon. Made with cranberries, bananas, strawberries, orange sorbet, and probiotic yogurt. Happy 25th Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding area continue to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
By PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.447 as we inch closer. Oilers game, of course, pregame show is coming up just after 5 o'clock here on Sports 1440. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. The madness continues all week long at The Brick. You can get 40% off select mattresses as well as an additional $5 off select major kitchen appliances this week at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, we got Oilers Preds tonight. 3 games going to get going shortly. Who do you think will be the first goal scorer in the game, and can we get a bold prediction?
Ooh, first goal scorer in the game, eh? That's a good question. Wow, it's kind of hard not to go with the obvious one. But I'm not going to go with the obvious one. I'm going to go with Connor Brown.
Oh, all right. I'm going to take, Connor McDavid. And I think my bold prediction, Connor McDavid scores 2 goals tonight. I don't know how bold that is. Not a 10 out of 10, but maybe a 5 out of 10. Question number 2 for you. Since giving up 6 goals in the opener, the Oilers have given up 5, 4, 3 in their next 3. Will the trend continue, and will the Oilers only allow 2 goals tonight, if not more or less?
2 or less? No, I don't think they will. I think it's a 5-3 game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it'd be great to see. I got a sneaking suspicion Steven Stamkos scores tonight. I don't know why. Something about players getting on the board against the Oilers, first goals, all those sorts of things. So, yeah, I'll say it's a little bit more high-scoring game. Take the over. Question number 3 for you. The Dallas Stars signing goaltender Jake Ottinger to an 8-year extension worth $66 million. We do have some time, but looking into the future, what do you think Stuart Skinner's next deal might look like?
That's hard to know because, you know what? He had one. What helps the Oilers and hurts Skinner is that his final 50 starts were very good last year. But his first 7 starts were so bad. His overall numbers, which is what they'll look at, the overall season numbers are like, they're not great. So this is going to sound really awful for Oilers fans. If Stuart Skinner has like 7 or 8 bad games to start a stretch and then is great the rest of the year, that actually helps you in contract negotiations. Doesn't help him, but it helps the Oilers. So what would his contract, like he's up when McDavid's contract will kick in, right? They'll have some other guys off. So it'll all depend. Yeah, like they could be in a cap crunch. Obviously, we know with depends on what Bouchard gets here, but obviously Draisaitl and then, Nurse, what have you. So I would say, I don't know if they would go long term. I'm going to say he might get like a shorter term deal at around like 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be intrigued to see in the next, in the time between this time and the next contract for the next franchise goalie, what the numbers looking like, ballpark. I mean, the team expects to win a lot of games here, so I think Stuart Skinner is going to play a big role in that, and he might get rewarded for it. So I think it probably starts where you have it, 6, and I don't know if it gets up to the 8 mil AAV, but at the bottom end, I think it's got to be around the 6 mark. Question number 4 for you today. It is Thursday Night Football, Saints and Broncos. Tons of injuries here. What would be the bet for you if you were throwing down some money over at Play Alberta?
Well, that's a good question, Cons. I'll let you go first.
I feel like it's the under. Rashid Shaheed out of the lineup, Chris Olave out of the lineup. That would have been a really good matchup because the Broncos are without Patrick Surtain. Second, you could have utilized that one. Taysom Hill still questionable. Alvin Kamara had the hand injury, but looks like he's going to be good to go. I think I might, for the fun payout, look at Cortland Sutton anytime touchdown. And I'm just scrolling through it here. There's an odds boost. Saints to win the first quarter and Bo Nix to record an interception. Bo Nix threw an interception his first pass attempt last week against the Chargers. So that might be one to sprinkle a little money on. So is it
an any game interception?
Anytime interception with the Saints winning the first quarter. I think Bo Nix right now gets better as games go on.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the Saints find a way to get that early lead. But 2 rookie quarterbacks playing tonight. Give me the under.
What do you make of a Sutton tonight? Do you think he's going to get a lot of balls? What do you make of that?
I think so. To be honest with you, he had that really nice catch against the Chargers. I don't know if it was a touchdown. I think he might have been out of bounds, and the Bronco fans in the YouTube chat will probably hate me for saying that. But I think he's got a chance to make some plays. It may be tough.
How have the Saints been against receivers, though?
Good question. Well, last week they were destroyed.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin went off for 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, maybe there's a guy you look at. Do you have him in the lineup?
Well, I'm debating on him or Pittman. Or Romeo Dobbs as my third receiver, right?
I like Sutton. He's a good player. Getting the trust of Bo Nix.
Yeah, like Pittman, yeah. It's hit or miss.
You might have Anthony Richardson back as well this week, so that could be a hit to Pittman.
Oh, it's a huge hit. If Richardson's back, yeah. Thank you. I'll go with Sutton.
Question number 5. It is Eminem's birthday today.
Ooh.
Turns 52 years old.
All right.
What of all his hits would be your favorite?
Oh, God. Jeez. Well, it's hard not. God, I love Lose Yourself, but yeah, I'd probably go with Lose Yourself. I really like Stan though too.
Good ones. I'll take Till I Collapse. I had Nate Dogg on the hook there. Bit of a good one. I think a lot of people listen to that before sporting events. And My Name Is.
Yeah,
a classic, right?
My Name Is good. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the Real Slim Shady's pretty good too. He's got some, like, his lyrics in his line, like, you got to listen really. And even if you can't, maybe you're not a big rap fan, go read his lyrics. He's got some phenomenal lyrics in a variety of his different songs, man. So it's The Way I Am, Without Me. He's got some really good songs. So I would look into a few of those for sure. So. Hey guys, Saints fan here. We're gonna get crushed. Peyton has all his best plays saved for this revenge game from Will. Hey, touche, man. The old revenge game. We'll see.
First time back to New Orleans. Yeah.
They've got a lot of people text in Victor Arvidsson first goal of the game. Feel he's due from Jake and Peter, Mike, Sarah, and Bill. All text in. All with Arvidsson. A few of you others had Skinner getting the first goal. So there you go. I could see Arvidsson. Like, if he could just hit the net on one of his one-timers, might go in. All I know is if he keeps missing it, he ain't scoring ever on a one-timer. So that would be the key moving forward for him, is to try to bury one on the old one-timer for sure. All right, let's get to a Sports 1440 update because we have the pregame show coming up next. Orders in Nashville. Walker, myself, and Paulson will get you set up for the game as we get to the Command Sports 1440 update, brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. And the Canada-wide clearance is on now at GMC. Get a $7,500 cash credit on a 2024 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. See more at gmcoffers.ca as you're listening to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
Just over an hour away from puck drop out in Nashville as the Preds hosting the Oilers. Connor McDavid looking to pick up his first goal of the game. We got pregame coverage coming up next right here on Sports 1440 and 1440. Andrew Walker, Jason Gregor, and Donovan Paulson. Elsewhere around the NHL, just a few minutes from puck drop out in Montreal. Canadiens host the Kings. The Devils are in Ottawa. Lightning taking on the Golden Knights. Canucks and Panthers. Caps host the Stars. Blue Jackets taking on the Sabres. Red Wings host the Rangers. Islanders in St. Louis, and the Kraken up against the Flyers. Off the ice, the Dallas Stars have signed goaltender Jake Oettinger to an 8-year contract worth $66 million. That's an AAV of 8.25. Week 7 in the NFL kicks off tonight with the Saints hosting the Broncos at 6:15 down in New Orleans. The Saints will be without wide receiver Rashid Shaheed as he underwent meniscus surgery. There's a chance he could miss the remainder of this season. They'll also be without wideout Chris Olave. In the association, LA Clippers star Kawhi Leonard will be sidelined indefinitely to begin the upcoming season as he rehabilitates from inflammation in his right knee. This injury goes back to March of last season, impacting his final 8 games of the year, and he also only appeared in 2 of the 6 games against the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs. Edmonton Oil Kings in action tonight down at Rogers Place hosting the Saskatoon Blades. That one gets going just after 7 o'clock and out in BC. But the showcase in the BCHL, Saints taking on the Chilliwack Chiefs. That gets going just after 8 o'clock. And in the Major League Baseball playoffs, the Guardians right now up on the Yankees 2-1 midway through the 6th. The Yankees lead that series 2-0. Tonight, just after 6 o'clock, you got the Mets and Dodgers from Queens. Dodgers lead that series 2-1. Coming up next here on Sports 1440, it is a pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker, Jason Gregor, and Donovan Paulson. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
The madness continues at the Brick. Find huge savings in every department, like up to $900 off sofas and sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, up to $800 off select big screen televisions, and up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. At the Brick, saving you more.
Go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Sports 1440 studios. Hard to call something in October a big win unless you're maybe playing in the World Series. But as far as the NHL schedule goes, I think that's what we saw on Tuesday night. Overtime win, comeback win. Oilers get off the schneid. They're 1-3. with that victory over Philly. It takes the stink off the 0-3 start a little bit. They'll look to build on that tonight in a building that they have absolutely owned the last number of years. And we got some stats to back it up. Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Good afternoon. Welcome into the Cross Mitsubishi Oilers pregame show right here at Sports 1440. I'm Andrew Walker, joined by Donovan Paulson. Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition. 9605 34th Ave and crossmitsubishi.ca. So Oilers and Preds in about an hour from now. Preds, much like the Oilers, had what people consider a pretty good offseason. Stamkos in, Marchessault in, Brady Shea in, and the start has been just like the Oilers. 0-3, 3 regulation losses, goal differential of -8, and we think they're a pretty good team. So they're in the same boat. They'll be looking for their first win tonight. Right now, though, we've been doing the show kind of later on in the evening, but I'm a squatter. I've squatted on the Jason Gregor Show. I have squatter's rights as Greg sticks around.
It's all good, buddy.
Awesome. It's an honor to, man, I've listened for, we've had run-ins over the years, but I don't think we've ever done anything like this. It's great to be here.
Yeah, buddy. Happy to have you on the board. I'm really liking you and Donovan in the pre and post game show for anybody who's tuning in for the first time. You guys do a great job of breaking it down. So I'll be sure to tune in after the game.
It's been fun. And I think our post game shows have probably, been the exact same as Nashville radio. I'd throw probably Vancouver radio in there, Colorado, certainly Colorado radio. The only difference is the Oilers have a win. None of those teams have a win. It's been, I didn't hear much of your show today. I'm sure you broke it down a little bit, but it's kind of been one of the themes of the early part of the NHL season. Contenders, teams that had big off seasons, brought in big free agents. Maybe Colorado wasn't quite like that, but we have a lot of respect for the Avs organization as a whole. They've all been terrible starts for good teams.
Yeah, like Nashville, Connor asked the question yesterday, which one are you least worried about? And I think Nashville would be that one. I think the Preds will come around. The Avs, if I was an Avs fan, I think it's going to be I didn't pick them to win the division anyway. I thought Dallas would, but they're going to be in a real dogfight here because there's nobody coming to save that team. They got all their injuries, and their second line had O'Connor on it, who has a career high of 25 points. And then Kovalenko, who's only ever played 4 games, doesn't have an NHL point. And I guess he's played 2 in the playoffs, doesn't have a point there either. So that team I'm quite concerned with because they're getting no goaltending. And like Nashville, you look at their games, like Detroit, they outshoot them 42-20, and they lose 3-0. They can't score. Cam Talbot kind of stood on his head that game. So you're like, all right, that happens. They were good against Seattle. They blew apart in the third period, basically in 11 minutes, gave up 3 goals. And off the rush, that's what's interesting. If you're an Oilers fan, Nashville, where they being susceptible earlier this year is off the rush. And that's like the bread and butter of the Edmonton Oilers tonight. It should be anyway. And the Preds, as you mentioned, their goal for differential, it's all at 5-on-5. They're getting spanked 11-3, 5-on-5 through 3 games.
Yeah, they're just too good not to like. I mean, I guess they're a little thin up the middle, right? You got Tommy Novak, who I like, but he might not be a second line center, and Colton Sissons, Michael McCarron tonight playing up the middle. Marchessault down in the third line. Who knows? Maybe Marchessault is a little long in the tooth. There's a reason that Vegas walked, but too many good players. Too much experience between Forsberg and O'Reilly and Yossi and Shea and Saros. It's a good team. If you are a sports betting aficionado, I'd like the Preds to lose a couple more until you get like a really good price on the Preds to make the playoffs, and then you hit it. That's what I think. They're good. They're good. But it's interesting, right? How if you're playing beer league, right, or you're playing over at River Cree or something like that, and the way you judge a team, it's not necessarily by the weakest player. It's like you could have a team, a bunch of plugs. If they have McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar, you're like, well, they're still going to be tough to beat. NHL's not like that, right? You got those guys are superstars. Those are 3 of the top 10 players conservatively on the planet. And if you don't have 60 and 4 lines or even 3 lines, you are in trouble. Yeah. And the Avs have been dreadful. And saves, obviously.
Oh, well, they got no saves, and they just got no depth. Lekkonen's out. And really, most teams, if you came to Edmonton and said, okay, we're going to take out 3 of your top 6 wingers. So Skinner's gone, Hyman's gone, and let's just say Nugent Hopkins or Arvidsson's gone.
Yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, that's their only. Yeah, so you'd still have those 2, but they still have McKinnon and Rantanen, but then they don't really have much else, right? And that's Colorado's problem. Nashville, it's stunning to me when you dig into the numbers and you talk about how the Oilers have had success in that building. it's almost unprecedented, really, for what Leon Draisaitl has done, because he's in his last 14 games got 23 goals. Only Bossy and Gretzky have ever done that in history. But in his last 7 road games in Nashville, he's got 15 goals and 21 points. And McDavid's got 17 points. He missed one of those road games, and he still got 17 points in 6 games. So 3 points a game for Draisaitl, 2 point whatever that is, 2.83 I think it is for McDavid. And so they're playing together tonight. You'd almost have to think, well, they're guaranteed to each get 2 points. In theory, I know it's not that easy, but those two have made it look that easy, where the game starts, you're like, well, they're each going to get 2 points.
I was wondering today if it's like if it's a strict matchup thing, and I don't think it is, because obviously the Preds have always been well coached. They're always trying to make
they're a good team.
They've always tried to make adjustments. That okay, let's put O'Reilly on McDavid now. Okay, well, let's make sure the Yossi pairing is out. Like, I'm sure they've tried different things. So there's a matchup thing, and then it's just like straight up confidence. Like, this is life. This is life. When you're confident in anything. I was talking to Carius this morning on his show. It could be work. It could be sports. It could be talking to people of the opposite sex. Confidence is everything. And when you're not confident, you're standing over a golf shot. Oh, I don't hit this 3-iron very well. Guess where the ball's going, right? And so with the Draisaitl thing and the Preds' inability to counter the Draisaitl thing, I think it's just straight up to it adds up to being terrified and knowing you're going to have success.
Well, when the Oilers go on the power play tonight, Nashville's, because everyone's like, well, they're a different team. Yeah, but Stamkos and Marchessault aren't on their penalty kill. Their penalty kill is basically the same guys. Now, Brady Shea will be on the penalty kill, but it's not like, one guy is going to change everything. Their power play in Nashville is 43% in that 7 games. Like, they just get out there and they look around and they're like, hey, well, we're going to, tic-tac goal. Now, I know it's not that easy. It's hard, but confidence is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think Draisaitl, and then you throw in the fact that McDavid doesn't have a goal yet this year. And they've really, I would argue, they played 6 good minutes to their extent, because the first 3 games, they were pretty quiet by their standards. And then up until they scored in that Philly game, like they were hacking the puck around, they barely shooting. And so Draisaitl gets benched first time since I can't remember. We were trying to talk about, I think Todd McClellan did it once for a short period of time. We were going back to it. I know Woodcroft never did. I don't think Tippett did. I thought McClellan did it once, but I'd have to go back and look at the shift chart, which would take way too long. So I think he comes in a little bit like, okay, I got to be better here.
Yeah, I think so. And to your point, I would give them credit for 0 minutes against Winnipeg. I think that the Chicago game, they had a couple of blips.
Yeah.
Not much.
Nothing.
The Calgary, I thought they came out pretty good in the Calgary game. If it's 2-0, maybe that game has a different ending, but all of a sudden they started facing adversity and they couldn't overcome it. And then, the Philly game was better, but not great. I thought the second period, when they kind of collectively realized, our backs are against the wall here.
Yeah.
We can't lose 4 home games in a row in front of our fans. Like, they pulled it out of the fire. They have the ability to do that. But we have not yet seen a 60-minute effort. But the Preds would be saying the same thing. A good team over there. And the changes, to your point, the changes they made in the offseason, it wasn't to, how do we stop McDavid and Draisaitl?
No.
It was, how do we score against Vancouver? A series we dominated.
They should have won.
Should have won in 5, lost in 6.
Yeah, they just needed a pulse from their power play.
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why their power play, I look at their power play. So the Oilers for the last 3 seasons have been the number 1 power play in the NHL, but they've also had the highest shot volume. Like, if you go on shots per 60, they're at like 67, which is quite high. The Preds through 3 games, they've already got 30 shots on the power play, but only 1 goal. They're firing from everywhere. They just can't score. So odds will tell you, if you continue to shoot like that, eventually, you're getting set up. You've got Stamkos, who's been an excellent power play guy in his career, right? Philip Forsberg can really shoot the puck. Yossi can move the puck. Marchessault. So their power play maybe doesn't have the continuity of Edmonton yet, right? Because Edmonton guys, Draisaitl and McDavid can do plays that they just remember from they've done 100 times.
Yeah, unchanged, yeah.
I think that power play in Nashville is going to get going. And so for the Oilers, when their penalty kill is only 56%, you got to be disciplined tonight, man, because they've been taking way too many penalties.
It is the Cross Mitsubishi Oilers pregame show. Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, Jason Gregor sticking around for a little bit as we've weaseled our way into his time slot with his early start, 6 p.m. in Nashville. A little bit more palatable than the 8:30 starts that we've been seeing lately. I remember, just as an aside, I remember when I was working in Toronto for the first couple of years there, I did the morning show, which is tough sledding to do morning radio, as Carius knows. So the show would start at 5:30, so I'd get in at 4:30, and that's Eastern time zone, right? So I remember there were days when the Leafs were on their Western swing.
Oh yeah,
right. So you're San Jose, you're Anaheim, you're LA, 8:30 puck drop, and which is 10:30 there. Like, good night. And I remember the one time I was so dead, but you got to stay up and watch the game. And the Leafs were playing LA. It was 10:30. Whatever, 10:37 puck drop.
Yeah.
And then as the game starts, and I don't know why their scheduling was so whack, and they're like, tonight we honor Luke Robitaille, who, oh God, it was like the puck drop did not drop.
Yeah, it's like 11
It's like
o'clock.
2 a.m. watching hockey, getting up at 4:30. So yeah, 6 p.m. I digress, is pretty good. While we're here, while we got you here, let's let you weigh in on the matchups tonight for Napa Auto Parts. For all your automotive needs, go to your trusted experts in high-quality parts, tools, equipment, and more. That's Napa Know-How. Okay, so you mentioned Draisaitl and some of those stats.
Yeah.
And in his career, 26 games against the Preds, 25 goals, 17 assists, a +6. It's just video game numbers. So, okay, put yourself in, I was going to say Barry Trotz. He's not the coach anymore. Who's the coach?
Burnett.
Brunette, right, of course. Put yourself in the shoes of Andrew Burnett and previously Barry Trotz with this lineup, and you know that Draisaitl and McDavid are starting together, which part of me is a little surprised at. But what do you do? You get last change. What do you do?
Well, it's Ryan O'Reilly. He's my best centerman, no question. I think now we all know in matchups you don't get 100% even on home ice. So I would say let's say they play on average 12 minutes at 5-on-5. I'm going to say O'Reilly gets 9, maybe 8, and the Novak line gets the other one. Actually, no, Colton Sisson's line. Sorry, Colton Sisson's line will get the other ones if they can. I think they'll try to keep Novak, Evangelista, and Stamkos away from the McDavid line. Try to create offense against the other.
There is such a thing as giving too much respect. Like, I was thinking, do you create you've been owned so much by this guy or these two guys? Do you create a Frankenstein line that we don't know if they have chemistry, but they can all check, they can all skate. Let's put O'Reilly with, Tomasino and Jankowski. I don't know, something like that. But maybe it's overthinking it. You can overthink.
Oh God,
you can give too much. You can give too much respect.
Yes, you can. And I think they're really looking more to. They've changed their lines. They put Stamkos with their two guys that are scoring in Novak and Evangelista to try to get them going 5-on-5 because as much as we talk about the Oilers couldn't score in the Ocean, the Preds top 6 forwards have no goals 5-on-5 through 3 games. And it's not, you can talk about all the shots and everything, but Stamkos, Marchessault, Forsberg, Nyquist, O'Reilly, that's their top 5 guy. They're supposed to be their top 5-6 forwards, and they don't have a goal 5-on-5. And I think maybe Marchessault has an assist, maybe. So they really haven't done much at all 5-on-5. And you look at their lines, like Marchessault and Stamkos have been together the whole year. Not tonight. They move them around. And so I think they're trying to get offense going. At the same time, their potential is to spread it out a bit at the same time.
It's we forget sometimes, and I'm not talking about people being mean on social media, but we forget the human element. And yeah, Steven Stamkos does things that us mere mortals couldn't really fathom. But think about it for a second, right? Like, this guy has, does he have 5? Yeah, he has 500.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So he has spent his whole career in Tampa. And the last decade especially rode shotgun with Kucherov, won cups, the whole lifestyle. And all of a sudden you're in Nashville. Like, it's a total change of pace. And these guys are not robots, right? It's
hard.
He has to make an adjustment with the guy he's been playing with forever, the power play unit, the coaching, the building, all of that. And they're not the same guy, but Victor Arvidsson is off to a very quiet start here. And the Oilers will eventually need him to get going. But Steven Stamkos is not the first guy to go to a new market after having a Hall of Fame career somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it might take him more than a couple weeks to get going. That's just reality.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I get it. Like, everyone wants their team to win, and fans freak out about 0-3 starts. This isn't the NFL, right? The NFL 0-3, that's it. You're firing your coach. You're drafting a new quarterback. Like, that's it. The NFL is the most reactionary sport on the planet. And this one, you have to take a deep breath a little bit.
Well, in Nashville, but their head coach, that's kind of been his mantra. He said it all along. Like, he even said at training camp, this is going to take a while. We got a lot of new faces and they're going to take time to gel. And I think he's right, because it's not so much on the ice. There's lots of off ice stuff, right? You feel comfortable. You've driven to the rink the exact same way, probably for how many years? You know exactly where you're going. You know, in the barista at the coffee place, you know this person,
100%,
you know, your restaurant. So he's not there's so many players that you look at that either get traded or sign as free agents. Not all, of course, but lots of guys take a while to get comfortable.
Then it could be you're having trouble getting your cable hooked up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
And then it's not only getting comfortable. Then all of a sudden, if you go a little too long, you don't score. Well, now what happens? Now your confidence starts to go. And I don't care. You can be in the same city for 10 years. You don't have confidence. You don't have a chance.
Landon Ferraro, who's going to join us next segment, our game day analyst, former NHLer, he said something early on, and he said, as a player, as a team, the scariest number has always been 0.
Oh,
always. You start the season, and the longer you're stuck on 0 points, 0 goals, 0 assists. If a goalie, maybe it's 0 wins or 0 shutouts, whatever. As a team, it's 0 victories in the win column. And even in an individual game, you're trying to impress, and you look down your box score, and you're 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? It's an intimidating number, and that doesn't matter. McDavid's probably feeling the goal thing, just like Stamkos is, just like Arvidsson is for the Oilers. On that note, Arvidsson, Hyman, Nuge, all quiet. The Hyman one surprises me probably the most. The Arvidsson one, I get it, right? New market, all of that. With a guy like Hyman, they like to say in baseball, speed never goes into a slump, right? You can be struggling at the dish, well, then get it on the ground and hustle, right? Or find a way on base.
Yeah.
When you're Hyman and you just go to the post, that's what you do. That should never go into too lengthy of a slump, because that's where goals are created around the net.
Well, you look at Hyman and the fact that he has no shots on the power play when he's now he's not their main go-to guy. Draisaitl's their power play is best when Draisaitl's the main shooter, and then McDavid. But Hyman is very close to McDavid in shots the last 2 seasons when they've been the best power play. And he has 0 through 4 games. I think and you don't score in every shot. Of course, he had, I think it was 60 shots last year and had just under 20 power play goals. So 1 out of 3, still pretty good. But once you start pushing the puck down low to Hyman, and now the D-man has to all of a sudden be prepared for that. Well, now it opens up more slot in more area in the slot for Draisaitl or McDavid or Nugent Hopkins. So
it's what makes that whole power play great.
It's so great. And so we haven't, remember last year they had that you win the face off and they would send the guy into the corner. It was like a tic-tac-toe boom right out to Hyman, low slot, score. We haven't even seen him try that play. Now they mix up a lot of different things and teams try to take it away. But yeah, Hyman, I don't think he's played poorly per se, but he hasn't been, as active around the net as we're used to. And I think when that comes, it just makes the power play better because it'll open up more space I like to call the kill zone in the slot for those other guys.
And there must be a small element, not a big one, but he already has a goaltender interference goal called back. Corey Perry, the same. We have to be okay, and Zach Hyman has to be okay with getting goals called back. Like you can't, you cannot change it though.
Hey, Legacy, right? He didn't even have commercials about him getting goals called back, so he knows about it. It's quite a few. That one I thought was actually kind of the easiest of the goals called back for the Oilers when he went in there on against, was it Philly where his was called back? Yeah, the Bouchard shot.
Yeah, well, I mean the offside one was, but
yeah. Well, yeah, the Iverson was, but yeah, that is true. That was an obvious one. But for the goalie interference, I was like, yeah, okay, he came right in the top of the crease. It was kind of obvious that he touched him.
Can you remind me for a second, because I was driving today and everyone talks about the same stat. At one point they had 4 goals disallowed and then 3, they had scored 3. Like that's a crazy number. And for the life of me, I can't remember the 4th.
That has been disallowed. So you had the Ryan offside.
The Perry.
You had the Perry.
The Bouchard
one. And
what was the 4th? Because everyone's saying the same stat, and I don't know if it's true because I do not remember a fourth.
What was the other fourth?
Did they have one disallowed against Winnipeg? I kind of stopped watching. To be honest,
I don't recall the win. Oh, maybe it was Winnipeg. Yeah, well, Calgary had 2. Philly had.
I guess there's 4 video reviews that went against them.
Yeah.
Message us on the text line if you can remember. But for the life,
Who was the other one?
For the
Hyman?
for the life of me, like I even heard
Perry.
it was Cuthbert on the broadcast last night, and he threw out the same stat. At one point, 4 goals disallowed and 3-4. And I was like, am I like I do the post game show? Am I blind? Like, do I forget things? I could not for the life of me remember the 4th.
I can't think of the other one either. Right
I guess
now.
hey, it's a great study in media. You hear something and you just take it as fact and regurgitate it. That's what we're doing.
833-401-1440, if you remember this. So we had the Bouchard shot, Hyman. You had the Perry deflection that was called back. You had the Derek Ryan offside. That was the obvious one. And what was the other one?
I don't think there was a 4th. I really don't. This is like the space-time continuum. This is like Inception, right? And we're sitting here and the top is spinning. And we're going to fade to commercial right now without ever knowing. Andrew Walker, Jason Gregor, Donovan Paulson. Okay, we got to keep this thing moving. Thanks for sticking around. I mean, it's your world.
No, buddy, you guys got your
I
don't like to interrupt too much in the show. Thanks for having me. Continued success in the pregame. What was the other one?
It's Victor Arvidsson's goal.
Right.
The one where he falls on top of the goal.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
When was that?
Coming in on the text line from Teed, sorry.
Which game was that?
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago. Oh yeah.
There you go.
Okay. I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if you followed my radio career, it's not the first time. So
well, there you go.
There
So
you
yeah,
go.
there's the 4th. And I had to go Teed. What a boy. So there you go. And you guys have fun. I really enjoy you and Landon Ferraro. It's great stuff. Continued success on the pre and post game show. I'll be listening.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these early games. We'd love to see more of you. We'll do. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll be around later this month. We're doing a few Detroit, Columbus games.
Oh, I love those Columbus 3 p.m. starts. Awesome.
Okay, man.
Thanks,
have a good
Greggs. All right. The pregame show continues. Oilers and Preds coming up at 6 p.m. If you want to weigh in, the text line is open. 1-833. You're going to have to tell me the text line. I don't have the thing here, and I always forget. 401-1440. Oh, man, the new guy. You're listening to the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show here on Sports 1440.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Pre-matchups are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. For all your automotive needs, go to your trusted experts in high-quality parts, tools, equipment, and more. That's Napa know-how.
Touch base on the Weiss Johnson text line. 1-833-401-1440. Weiss Johnson specializes in Train heat pumps, the reliable, cost-effective heating and cooling solution. Train. It's hard to stop a train.
The pregame show is brought to you by Cross